We are starting seminar with recitation of Holy Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Now I would request you all to stand up for national anthem, please. Thank you, everyone. Now I would like to call AVM Asad Ikram, Principal Advisor, NICAT and DG Corporate NESTEP for his welcome remarks.
Assalamu alaikum. Chairman Sahab, gentlemen, Dr. Sahab, Dr. Tosif, Dr. Mujahid, and people who've come in from the ministry and from the university as well, and our partners from the private industry. Thank you very much for being here with us. This project, I'm sure you already know about this, and we're very excited about this at NESTEP. And the reason is because the core reason of NESTEP, which defines our aim and goals, is to be able to use the technology that we have to develop more of it, to be able to serve the Pakistani society. For this, we have brought to the table all the technologies that we have developed over the years. And those include technologies to do with aviation, technologies to do with radars, technologies to do with other sensors, technologies to do with processing, technologies to do with artificial intelligence, and a lot more. And these are the core technologies of any solution that you would require for any problem that you want to solve for the Pakistani society. So far, unfortunately, in Pakistan, that integration has not happened. We have been doing a lot of work, not just us, and let me switch to Urdu also. ना सिर्फ हम बल्कि बहुत सारे और लोग, बहुत सारे और organizations पाकिस्तान में बहुत अच्छा काम कर रही हैं, लेकिन somehow हमारे जो local problems हैं वो solve नहीं हो पा रहे, इसलिए कि हमारा focus उस तरफ नहीं है. NESTEP में हमारा जो focus है वो ये है कि हम सारा मिल के solve करें अपने problems. Research करें तो करें उन problems पे जो हमारी society को हैं. They could relate to marvelous job over the years. और जो टेक्नोलॉजीज मैंने पहले जिक्र किया उनमें और उनसे और भी ज्यादा में काम करते हैं, उनको लेके आए यहाँ पे. उसके अलावा हमने जगह बनाई है फॉर प्राइवेट सेक्टर कंपनीज टू आल्सो कम इन. जो जहाँ पे हम बैठे हुए हैं, ये हमारा इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर है जो म्यूनिसिपैलिटी फंड करती है थ्रू द इग्नाइट प्रोजेक्ट। और इसके पीछे वो सारी जगह है जो प्राइवेट सेक्टर कंपनीज बैठी हुई हैं। साथ में दफ्तर खान है, फिर एक साइबर क्रूजा है जहाँ पर AI साइबर सिक्योरिटी इवन तो इस जगह की अभी तक इनॉग्रेशन फॉर्मल नहीं हुई येट, हमारे पास बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं डिफरेंट मिनिस्ट्रीज के, एंड वी वेलकम देम ऑल, ताकि हमें पता चले, उनको पता चले क्या है अवेलेबल, हमें पता चले कि हम कहाँ पे कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं। एंड दिस ग्रीन AI प्रोजेक्ट इज वन ग्रेट इनिशिएटिव जहां पर नेस्टेप के सारे डिविजन्स R&D, एडेड यूनिवर्सिटी which is the main academic institution that works in agriculture, the ministry, the different ministries, Ministry of Food Security, and people who work on research in agriculture reforms or technologies. Ye sare milke, what they're trying to do is to bring about a revolution in the country. हमारा जो पिछला revolution था, सर मुझे correct कर सकते हैं, वो 60s में हुआ था, the green revolution, जहाँ पे हमने अपनी per hectare yields बढ़ाई, and we continue to be a sort of food basket for the whole country and for the region as well. But now as our population grows, we just have to do more. हमारी इस वक्त जो per hectare yields हैं, not सिर्फ agriculture की, but even other things, livestock, milk, etc., वो बाकी दुनिया से बहुत कम है। और जो फर्क है वो क्या है कि हमने उस पर सोचा नहीं। अगर हम सोचते, और सिर्फ वो सर के इदारे का काम नहीं है, हम सभी का काम है। फिर हम लोग जिनके पास टेक्नोलॉजी है, जो हमने टेक्नोलॉजी और कामों के लिए डेवलप की, वी हैव टू ब्रिंग ऑल ऑफ इट टुगेदर टू बी एबल टू मेक द डिफरेंस। क्योंकि वो करेंगे तो ना सिर्फ हमें फायदा होगा, हमारे कल के बच्चों को भी फायदा होगा। सो विद दैट, आई डोंट वांट टू टेक मच ऑफ योर टाइम. I once again welcome you and give you this assurance that we are all here. We, NASTEP, all our partners from the private industry, and we also have linkages with other public sector organizations. We're all here to make this a success. With that, I thank you all for being here with us. I'm sure कि आज का ये जो session होगा, इसमें जो आगे studies करनी है हमने, and there are going to be a series of them, उसकी उनको proper SIMP में लगा सकेंगे. I urge you all to please take active participation in this. आपके जहन में जो भी आता है सवाल, वो प्लीज जरूर पूछें. आप सवाल पूछेंगे तो हमारी लर्निंग होगी, हमारी पूरी टीम की लर्निंग होगी, and we'll be able to steer this project in the right direction. So once again, thank you very much for being here with us, and wish that we have a very productive session today. Thank you.
Thank you, AVM sir, for your intellectual and valuable remarks. I would like to invite Dr. Abid Suleri for opening remarks. Dr. Abid Qayyum Suleri has over 2 decades of experience of working in development sector since 2007. He is heading Pakistan's premier policy research think tank STPI. He has successfully conceptualized and implemented the programs and projects based on flexible and adaptive approach, enhancing the local level of scaling and sustainability of the initiatives. In addition to the national projects, he has also managed and led regional program and projects on climate change and adaptation, migration, climate change impact on food security, political economy analysis, reintegration of displaced person in conflict affected area, and other projects. Furthermore, he is member of Pakistan Climate Change Council and member of board of director of National Disaster Risk Management Fund. Until recently, he was the member of Government of Punjab's Vice Chancellor Search Committee for Agricultural Universities. He convened the National Coordination Committee of the Prime Minister's Agriculture Transformation Plan in 2021 to 22. He also served on 3 judicial commissions on environmental issues. He has served thrice as member of Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council from 2013 to 22. He has twice served as National Advisory Council of the Planning Commission of Pakistan from 2013 to 22. Dr. Suleri has represented Pakistan in various official and civil society delegations, including UN Sustainable Development Summit, COPs, and WTO ministerial conferences. He is actively involved in different regional policy-making forums and served as lead expert from World Economic Forum's Transformation Mapping Initiative from Pakistan. He writes a weekly column for the news and shares his opinion on sustainable development issues in electronic media. Dr. Saab, please come.
Thank you, Khansa, and you must have realized she introduced me in this at this great length, just to prove that it's not only politicians and government which are responsible for some of the mess that this country is in. It's also people like me and many others who had been part of different regimes, but unfortunately we couldn't move further. First of all, I congratulate AVM Aleem Saab and Dr. Seep Saab's team for convening this very important event today. And the reason it's very important, Pakistan is passing through a doom and gloom situation. 0.29% of GDP growth, historic high inflation, 38 point something, 21% interest rate, and had been flirting with default the whole last year, political instability, and many others. So one can find, I think, every reason to remain pessimist and to remain disappointed. And within that atmosphere, any ray of hope, any encouragement, any source of inspiration, I think that can be a game changer. And that is what is required. And coming here and visiting some of the projects which are being undertaken here by different startups and, of course, under your supervision, I think that is a ray of hope. That is the future. So if the future of the world is fourth industrial revolution, for us, the future is combining fourth industrial revolution with agriculture, which had been our mainstay and which had been the backbone of our economy for last many decades. And the project in which STPI, the organization that I represent, we had the honor to collaborate with Dr. Tasif's team and different other ministries. I think that is an excellent combination of this fourth industrial revolution and agriculture. And together we want to carry out something which would be extremely promising and where our future lies. Now, if I dissect this 0.29% GDP growth, again, we would have been negative in minus had agriculture sector not there. So despite this floods, agriculture sector, it bounced back, and one could see some progress there, so that we, as in cricket term, they say that we escaped a follow-on, although we lost the match. So we escaped this minus growth, which, of course, during COVID, the whole world was going negative. But in normal times, that could have been something extremely, extremely embarrassing for a nuclear power. Now, just to tell you what we are trying to achieve and do in this very briefly in next few minutes. 5th June, we celebrate as World Environment Day. And in World Environment Day, one of the sources of pollution is agriculture sector. And the reason it contributes to pollution, it's excessive use of inputs. And why we make excessive use of inputs? Because there was no scientific guideline when to use which fertilizer, how much, when to irrigate, how much, about the pH value, about all other. So these things, theoretically, they were there, but in order to implement it, no one was able to implement it. Now, precision agriculture that we are talking about, we are telling you, and of course, most of you who are here from Air Force background, they can explain it in a much better accuracy, technical accuracy than I would do, that all we have to do, we are just proposing to work as a laboratory. We are placing some sensors. We just saw this vehicle that you have prepared in this lab that would simply be driving in the field, and the drone would be telling you the pH value of the soil. Drone would be telling you the fertility level. Drone would be telling you the humidity level, and it would tell you exactly which input to use and when. Alone, this thing, I think, would be a game changer in our agriculture. The second, again, the accuracy of seeding, how to cultivate your, sow your seed, the accuracy of application of different pesticide and herbicides with the use of these sensors. So these gadgets, I think they would be turning, and you rightly mentioned it was green revolution, and now we are talking of digital agriculture, digitalization in agriculture. And then it's not only use of drones and use of sensors or this agriverse. The whole digital technology, the phone that we have, it's not only to make a call, or it's not only a mode of communication. It's my bank, it's my doctor, it's my university, it's my entertainment, source of entertainment. Again, this is something which will connect farmers with their consumers, with their buyers, with their producers. It would connect corporate sector, the private sector, industry, with farmers from where they would be getting their resources. So again, use of this digital technology and precision agriculture, connecting the primary producer with the consumer, with private sector, that would create wonders. In the agriculture transformation plan that I had the honor to lead for a year or so, we wanted, and I'm glad that current government is also implementing the same. We wanted to actually connect the dots. And what are those dots? There are 4 isolated pieces of this jigsaw puzzle, which will complete the picture. We have research organization, agriculture research organization, and chairman PRC is here. He would be telling us about his wonderful work. We have agriculture universities, which impart knowledge. We have agriculture extension department, which tells farmers what to do, when and where. And we have this private sector, all the corporations and businesses which are connected to agriculture. Now, all 4 of them, they are working, but they are working in their own domains. And what we are trying to do through this project, beyond technology, is to bring all 4 pieces of this jigsaw puzzle together so that we can complete the picture. So we can connect all these diverse, very important, but right now sort of excluded stakeholders together. They can start talking to each other, and today's gathering is one of the example of it. But beyond, we also want the farmers to find like one single window. Those who are actually feeling the brunt of climate change, who are feeling the brunt of inflation, who are feeling the brunt of availability or non-availability of inputs, we are trying to provide them with one single window whereby they would get connected to researchers, they would get connected to academia, agriculture academia, they would get connected to businesses, and they would get connected to advisory services. And that would be the second important component of this precision agriculture. The third and most important for Pakistan's current context, you remember earlier in January, there was this Geneva conference for rehabilitation of flood affectees. Now gone are the days when we used to receive blank checks from our Western partners in the time of war and terror, or in the time of war against Soviet Union. Now they are talking of tangible projects. So money is there. Since those Geneva pledges, if I can quote you the estimated figure, less than $500 million has come to Pakistan so far. Apart from us not being in IMF, the second reason is that we don't have doable, tangible, convincing projects against which different development agencies, they would be providing us those pledges. So they have made those commitments, they have made those pledges, but in order to get those pledges materialized, they need some tangible projects. And Dr. Tosif and I, we have numerous discussions on the potential of this precision agriculture, that how we can link it with the agricultural revival and this building forward or building back better in flood affected areas. And again, this is the technology that you are producing, and this is the technology that Dr. Tosif is visualizing in collaboration with the agriculture research institution and private sector, that can actually create a wonder in those flood affected areas, not only in Pakistan, but anywhere else. We were just looking at one of the display models, looking at the computer, where we could see that the device that you have prepared could tell you abandoned pipes, some pipes inside the ground. Now, just think of the potential as a disaster management, God forbid, in case of earthquakes. If you have any of such device where the buildings are collapsed, and we saw this tragedy in Turkey, we also had this tragedy in Pakistan. One of the important or the crucial thing which is required to find out who is buried there under the rubble, who is alive and who can be rescued. Now, think of the potential of this penetration, just like X-ray, that can actually tell you that this is the exact location where a person is lying, and then the rescue team, they should do their best to rescue him or her. So these are the tremendous potential in this project. This is just the beginning. I'm thankful to the team AITP and all others who had faith and trust in STPI, which is a think tank. And we tried our level best to prepare a blueprint of this study, which have many lacunas and which would have many shortcomings. It is just the beginning, and we would very welcome your critique, your feedback, your challenges where we are wrong, correct us where you think that our assumptions, those are not accurate. But I would request, please be part of solution. We will accept everything to learn more and to improve ourselves, but then we need to move forward, and we need to find a solution, and together we can do it. Together we have faced different problems. We have done it in the past. In 1998, when we were faced with one of the worst sanctions, economic sanction in this world, but we rose from the occasion. And again today, while there is a doom and gloom everywhere, I'm optimistic that this is the right moment to avail the opportunities which are lying in this crisis. And I'm hopeful that we will emerge again a savior and a winner from this crisis. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abid, for your intellectual input on precision agriculture and its significant component. Our next speaker is Air Commodore Dr. Tosifur Rahman. Dr. Tosifur Rahman is serving as Project Director Technology at National Aerospace Science and Technology Park. He is also Project Director of Project Green AI. Dr. Tosif had a unique career in Pakistan Air Force, where he has repeatedly been part of critical R&D initiative throughout his career. Dr. Tosif has completed his master's and PhD degree from School of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Georgia Institute of Technology, USA in 2005 and 10, respectively. While at Georgia Tech, Dr. Tosif co-invented Jacket, a novel supercomputing toolbox for MATLAB, which was awarded a patent and won US and international acclaim. Dr. Tosif has authored several scientific papers, book chapters, and advised on multiple master's theses. He has chaired conference sessions and is frequently invited for keynotes talk at national and international seminar. Dr. Tosif is recipient of Sitara Imtiaz. I would like to call Dr. Tosif for his presentation on introduction to Green AI.
Assalamu alaikum. So just before the presentation gets loaded, EV Masjid Ikram, Honorable Chairman Park, Dr. Ali, Managing Director, STPI, Dr. Ali Abid Suleri, and our honorable guests from ministries, academia, and industry, most importantly, welcome to this first ever event of Green AI, being publicly shared at this level. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this, so just a quick word about a little background of the project. And I think it's a great achievement for Pakistan that this project has progressed this far. And it's no credit to us. I think there's a huge number of people. I think I would not be able to do justice who are behind this initiative. And this has been, it actually owes its inception to the spirit that is prevalent in our public sector of self-reliance since the birth of Pakistan. So I've been facing sanctions, some of them mentioned by Dr. Abid as well, and those have motivated us towards self-reliance. So NASTEP, which A.B. Masad Ikram just introduced briefly, that is a latest effort at the national level to increase the self-reliance in our country. So we, rather than looking around for support from elsewhere, when we are in difficult times, then we look inwards and do that. So this is one project. Just quick 3 words to before I delve into Green AI, because Green AI has a very, very intimate relationship with NASTEP, and that needs to be understood most importantly, because otherwise some of the partners that you see around here, they don't make sense. There are 3 core concepts of NASTEP. One is that human-centric approach needs to be adopted in the country. So moving from projects and machinery-centric approaches, we need to move to human-centric. And human-centric means that human resource development and human resource itself is a strategic asset of this country. So if we don't invest in them, nobody else will come and invest in them. So that's the number 1 strategic dimension of the project NASTEP. The number 2 is sustainable initiatives. And actually this word sustainability, we got inspired from Dr. Abid Suleri's institution, which is called the Sustainable Development Policy Institute. So any initiatives that we take, especially because most of our technological endeavors are embedded in the public sector. So sustainability has been an afterthought. We really don't balance our inputs and outputs because we are working towards operational and national security imperatives. So we develop these things not taken into account. So I studied a course of engineering economy in my undergrad, but throughout my career, I never worried about how much it's going to cost. So because what we were doing, these were things which nobody was selling us. So we built them and they were automatically no-brainers. They're going to be the cheapest around the world and it's going to make sense. But coming now, as the economic conditions of the country are changing, this is very, very crucial. And lastly, but not the least, is basically collaborative frameworks that we need to learn and actually progress on working together and getting out of our silos and taking up challenges like agriculture is a big challenge. National economy right now is actually the headlines. What Dr. Suleri just shared, that the numbers are very, very bad, and we need to come out of this, and there needs to be a national strategy. So these 3 are the cornerstones. So once we were pitching this to the government of Pakistan, certain quarters from the government of Pakistan, Ministry of Science and Technology, they asked us to walk the talk, that make it happen. And they said, why don't you pay some attention to agriculture? So that's when this consortium concept came up. What you see here is the initial set of partners which are making this happen. Ministry of Defense, which is again a revolutionary step. They are leading from, because this project is being run from the Ministry of Defense platform, because that's the parent ministry of NASTEP. Ministry of Science and Technology, they were the initial sponsor and they invited the concept. Ministry of National Food Security, that's their natural mandate. So the mandate for agriculture is the Ministry of National Food at the national level. At provincial level, there are other players. And Peer Meher Ali Shah, Arid Agriculture University, Rawalpindi, they have been doing wonders in precision agriculture field. They were already doing, so we partnered with them. PCSIR is an organization. I think a whole 1-hour talk is required, but this is the oldest and the biggest public sector research organization in Pakistan. And I think I have been involved in research, and I knew only a fraction of what they do, and some of that doesn't come up. So we got together and put this project forward, realizing that we don't have all the stakeholders on board. So that's the backdrop of the blueprint study that for the inception seminar that we are here, and SDPI was selected after a completely transparent RFP PEPRA procedures. They competed. There were 4 or 5 different agencies which were participating of this bidding system, and they won, being the most suitable competitive bid. And Alhamdulillah, and I thank Dr. Suleri's full support in making this happen. So as far as the Green AI project, this is a very, very crucial project, because without this stakeholder engagement, analysis, and developing a roadmap where this project is headed, this pilot project is just going to be one other book in the shelves of government projects, and it's not going to achieve its desired objectives. So just, I think most of the people here are relevant to agriculture, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but what the bottom line is that Pakistan, nationally, I think this slide is moving on its own. So we are in agriculture. Agriculture is a backbone of our country, and so our rural population is 43.5%, and the GDP contribution is 20.9% from this rural population. But this trend that you see here is, the numbers might be old, but the trend is still continues, that the production worldwide has a negative trend. And the Western companies, Western countries basically realizing this negative trend, they've started compensating. These figures are old, but now with precision agriculture and more optimized methods in agriculture, we are seeing turnarounds. Even certain turnarounds are being cited as miracles. For instance, Israel is cited as a miracle country of precision agriculture. And Pakistan, we haven't yet seen a consolidated, a very well thought. There very impressive efforts going on around the country, but as the agriculture sector, we are not seeing a wider impact on. So another thing is, we have a huge area compared to, so Pakistan is not a small country. It's a very, very sizable country with huge potential for agriculture. But the trends are negative in terms of yield, as well as the agricultural land with the urbanization and with some of the other mismanagement that we are doing. To my surprise, we got some data about Punjab's fertile lands in Punjab, which we are known for. And the data told us that the whole Punjab is infertile, actually. We have, our agriculture practices have exhausted the soil quality. So there's no regenerations. We have been just taking away from the land and not giving back enough. So all of these basically are the motivation factors that necessitate, it's a no-brainer that precision agriculture is the way forward. For some reason, there's, I think, a timer on my slides there. They keep moving forward. So precision agriculture is one of the, in fact, the most promising solutions on the horizon. And this is motivated from its adoption elsewhere, where you bring modernization in technology, drones, artificial intelligence, all of this to the benefit of the farmer, where he's able to make good decisions. He's able to implement those decisions effectively in a most productive fashion, and ultimately result in more responsible agriculture and higher yields. So this is the goal of precision agriculture. Most of you might be already familiar, because this is all in the books and it's all open literature, that what constitutes the core technologies are remote sensing technologies, which let you sense the condition of the soil and the crops, aerial imaging mechanisms through drones, manned aircrafts, even for that matter, cell phones today. I know Dr. Fawad is here from Bakhabar Kisan. We have agronomics, Shehzad Sahab is here. There are these two companies which are using images from farmers and making decisions about the crop condition, and they're already there. Another is the GPS system and the GIS information systems. Everything needs to be mapped onto a huge map where all the integration comes in, information, and then correlated, fused for ultimate decision support of agriculture. In particular, because we are standing in the National Aerospace Science and Technology Park, our primary interest is the aerospace. So aerospace, we know Pakistan has achieved self-reliance in this domain. We are even producing fighter aircrafts. We are producing our own drones in the country. And all of these are basically used for military applications. Civilian drone utilization has been, actually it is illegal in country to operate civilian drones. So realizing all of these things and understanding that remote sensing operates at these three major tiers, which are inaccessible to common population. One is the satellite tier, the other is basically aircraft-borne terrestrial surveys, and the most cost-effective one is the drones and high-resolution ones. So this is all the tiers beyond the cell phone imaging that are important, but on average, average farmer does not have access to these technologies. So we introduced these scopes in our approach. And before I go into describing green AI, I'll just give a quick overview because the purpose of today's getting together is to take the inputs, share what we are planning to do for this blueprint study development from the public sector partners and from the private sector companies which are already working in this, and we might be able to maybe inspire a few more companies to take part in this. What I'm showing here is on the left side, we have this circular farm technology. This is the extreme of agriculture because this is happening in Saudi Arabia and UAE in pure deserts. There's no renewable water anywhere. So what these guys are doing, they're digging 1 kilometer deep into the ground and actually siphoning out water from subterranean water and then spreading it through huge pumps. And interestingly, these pumps which are powering this, so average circumference is about 3.5 kilometer of one circle, the circumference. So all of this area, they use special pumps, high power pumps developed by Boeing. And Boeing is an aerospace company. So this is something which is happening in Saudi Arabia at very initial stages, and they are hoping to ramp it up further in the coming years. On the right side, top side, you have Pure Harvest. I'm sure most in the agri-tech focused companies know about it, because if they don't know, then I think we're not looking at the world adequately. Pure Harvest basically has raised 108. In fact, by latest figures, their total funding is something like in the order of magnitude of $350 million. This is a company which is using vertical farms, hydroponic farms for creating cherry tomatoes. And I know for a fact that Arid University did this production in their greenhouses a while back. Huge opportunity. And now they're expanding into the MENA region, and it's something which is very doable for Pakistan, and where indoor farming is really non-existent. Another trend is in China. The farm that you see, this is a greenhouse farm. Farms like this are coming around major urban centers like Shanghai, Beijing, and these districts are providing all the vegetable supplies to these big cities. And the model is very unique. They're mostly automated, and then they have some mentors, the old guys who are retiring. They once a week they take ownership, they visit, and they just do manage these. So this trend is urban vegetable production. So, and another very interesting project which is coming up in Israel is Agro Scouts. So what they do is, just like Bakhabar Kisan and Agronomics, you guys actually invite images from cell phones. These guys basically ask their farmers in Israel to buy these off-the-shelf drones and provide them imagery. So they integrate that imagery into their system. So in Pakistan, for instance, our average farmer cannot buy a 4 or 5 lakh, or some of these drones cost as much as 25 lakh rupees drones. So we basically, so most of these things, another very interesting phenomena, most of you might not know, is these indoor cabinets which produce vegetables, just like a refrigerator in your house. You put this and year round you can cultivate salad leaves and celery and different herbs within your kitchen. So this is something which was demonstrated a couple of years by LG. So these products are also going to hit the market very soon. But our innovation ecosystems are some of the smartest brains of the world actually reside in this region. We are totally missing out on this revolution that is taking place worldwide. So one of the challenges to get NASDAQ involved into agriculture was to basically find the win-win strategy. So one of the core concepts for us was to institute spin-in and spin-off benefit relationship, which is a worldwide phenomenon. Any technology is basically multi-purpose. It's not, GPS was designed for military applications, internet was designed for military applications. In fact, if you go and search for spin-offs by NASA, they publish a journal every year, and they show what impact their technology they've been building for space they've been having in all sectors, whether it's agriculture, whether it's aerospace, whether it's health sector. So we basically created that win-win for NASDAQ, so that all the research organizations which are working under our umbrella, which have expertise in these domains, established expertise. Our aircraft division, we have some of the world's top experts on drone development here. We have, for the last 2 decades, operating a C2 airspace management system at a national level. This was radars. We have operating radars in the field protecting us at this very moment. AI, we have the Center for AI in Computing, just part of this group, doing a wonderful job. And then we also have a space division building SATCOM solutions. So if you look on the top, we have all the things that would be of interest to maybe Army, Navy, and other public sector agencies. And on the bottom, you have the same benefit for the other things. So it's not a distraction. So most of the time when my name is taken against something in agriculture, they say, what are you doing? So I'm just doing my regular job. So actually agriculture is the job of Dark, Park, Arid University. And my job as project director is to bring them together, create this synergy and a symbiotic relationship for producing real results for a very, very vital sector of Pakistan, which is going to, I tell you, there are already articles on it, don't take my word for it, it's going to become more precious than gold. Food is going to be a critical challenge for humanity very, very soon. And Pakistan being an agrarian country, we are a gold mine for that. Just like gold is sitting in Rekodik, the whole Pakistan is actually gold mine for bringing this about. So we have been missing out. So now with this project, so I'll just quickly overview. This is the second last slide. I'll not bore you further. Just quickly demonstrate the different components. One is the green AI ecosystem. This is the smart farm ecosystem. And we're not building everything in a smart farm. In green AI, we're just basically substituting how to employ drones. And legally, responsibly, because there are flight safety issues, we have been deliberating at certain quarters at the highest level, how to allow drones. And we're never able to find a solution, how it can be responsibly used, because a drone can go and hit a commercial airline, it can be a disastrous accident. Or it can be utilized now to do anti-state activities as well. So how do you legally allow hundreds and thousands of drones in the country? So that's something that we're trying to, so these are green AI ecosystem compliant radar drones that are going to be developed under our watch. So even if external suppliers have to come in, they have to comply to certain security requirements. That's the green AI ecosystem model. In this, most of the sensors are going to be imported. We are working on one sensor, which we are calling the ground penetrating synthetic aperture radar. It is on display. The prototype version is on display. So after this event, you can go and interact with the team, what they're doing. They're going to develop 3 variants. One is the ground towed version, one is the vehicle towed version, and the other is the airborne variant. So right now they have the ground towed version. They are experimentally working with Arid University, and very soon we'll be working with actually NARC for testing this out. Another critical component is basically what we are calling the Agriverse ecosystem. Agriverse is the National Precision Agriculture Cloud Facility. It basically solves core problems around data storage, because when you talk about these advanced sensors, the biggest problem is they churn out a lot of data. We can't handle that. Most of our research universities are working on them, but we don't have a strategy to deal with data at this magnitude. So unless we figure it out, the cost and practicality of doing it is not there. So most of the projects that are using drones in agriculture, you'll notice they're mostly doing spraying, because that doesn't generate data. So this is something we are hoping to solve. If you look, we have a high performance computing core as well, which is a very expensive component, non-trivial to manage, non-trivial to procure and solve. So we're taking care of that. Then we are developing AI support structures and application. We are developing a framework where new innovation can also take advantage of this. So you don't have to do all of these things again and again. So this is something, the SDK or the development toolkit model, where people develop technologies and then open up them to developers and entrepreneurs to come up with new applications. Because we can't think of all the applications this thing can do. So on the right, we have all the stakeholders. Green cabin. So this is very critical, because we are a sunlit country. So these green cabins powered by solar energy, you can deploy them at small scales, ranging from these small cabinets all the way to hundreds of hectares of covered spaces where you want to create agriculture, and this is already proving. Another component, green cabin, is being done by Arid University. The other is basically, lastly, we have the interventions. So the interventions are development, how to, if you have diagnosed, what is the problem? Is there a pest infecting or is this some nutritional issue with your crop? So you want to fix it. So in that, we basically partnered with PCSIR. Now they're building plants for producing nano fertilizers. Shabir Saab is representing here, and the 2 plants are ready, alhamdulillah, for production in the coming year. We'll be sharing those plans with all of you, inshallah. In addition to that, Arid University is also working on seeding implements, an auto steering system for tractors. This project is already there, all the tractors they need. They also have the steering system. I think it should be reaching sometime this month. And then we have, very importantly, traceability mechanisms. So once all of this, as Dr. Abid Sulari mentioned, digitalization. So digitalization, data is everything. And then utilizing that data to give validation to your product is so critical. And I know I came to find out that most of the produce that we export, agriculture produce, PCSIR actually does laboratory testing and certification for that. So with Green AI, with all this integrated, this is a very natural byproduct we have plans to use. And in the end, most importantly, is basically the airspace management system. So this component is being developed by the agency that I shared, which developed the countrywide project vision. So there's a project we have here which developed the C2 backbone for the country. So आपके जितने civil aviation के flight plans हैं, Air Force की flights पे सारी वो manage करते हैं. So if there's any hope of this thing to work, they have to be part of it. Otherwise, आप isolation में build कर लें, you can't get it using. So we have this component. This will allow all of these green AI ecosystem compliant drones to register with this and then operate. And agriculture is just, I tell you, one dimension of the drones. आपकी health sector में, आपकी disaster recovery के अंदर, this feature can actually help. और जो Dr. Qamar Zaman है, Vice Chancellor Arid University, he has been hoping for this. कि ये आप कब allow करेंगे, because already Arid University is using drones on their smartphones. So हम ये responsible mechanism करके जो drones की penetration in the agriculture industry करेंगे, but this has far-reaching consequences from this. So coming from that, so this is the complete system, end-to-end, जो हम as a pilot project manifest करेंगे, but this project is not going to achieve its objective if at least everybody in this room जो है becomes a partner to this vision. So आप अपने segments में, whether it is as simple as explaining some green AI to somebody else, or all the way to developing some core technology. It's very critical कि आप उसको कर लें. And जो Dr. Abid Suleri से क्यों लेते हुए I included this slide कि sustainable जो SDGs हैं, जिसके में Pakistan is one very critical partner. We have obligations. This one project satisfies three directly addresses these. So इसके लिए if we go out there, we pursue donor agencies, this could be a very convincing for bringing donor funds, because project is going. And secondly, हमें इसमें private sector enterprise भी is third year में motivated by the study outcomes. So my request to the house is कि आप जो अभी 2 hours Dr. Kashif present करेंगे, इनको critically देखें. These are not the final word. This is the best effort that we could put together in this time. So you have to enrich this. If we have missed out something, some element, usko populate kare. If you see redundancy, that this is data that we already have, so aap isko volunteer kare, that ye aapka sadka jariya hoga. Even if you want to talk money, we can talk about money as well. But aap is initiative ka part bane. Because without your participation, isolation में इस तरह के सैकड़ों प्रोजेक्ट हुए और वो होते हैं, सारे पैसे खर्च होते हैं और बल्कि पैसे ज्यादा खर्च होते हैं और टाइम भी ज्यादा लगता है, बट एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं अचीव होता. सो विद नेक्स्ट स्टेप एक्चुअली टेकिंग शेप, आपके इर्द गिर्द ये पाकिस्तान का पहला इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर है जहां आप लोग बैठे हुए हैं फॉर एरोस्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी. 70% ऑफ द कंपनीज विच आर बीइंग इंक्यूबेटेड हियर आर देयर एरोस्पेस फोकस, और उनमें से बहुत सारी हमारे साथ ग्रीन एआई में अब हम उनको इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं. सो जो फ्रेश एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं हु हैव आइडियाज, प्लीज ब्रिंग योर आइडियाज. अभी नेक्स्ट कोहॉर्ट इनका another few months में आएगा. बिकम पार्ट ऑफ नीकैट इफ यू नीड एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी सपोर्ट. यहाँ पे आपको ट्रेनिंग्स मिलेंगी, एरोस्पेस की ट्रेनिंग्स मिलेंगी. यू विल गेट मेंटर्स फ्रॉम हु हैव लाइक लाइफ लॉन्ग एक्सपीरियंस इन डेवलपिंग एरोस्पेस टेक्नोलॉजीज. और हमारे अब जिस पार्टनर्स हैं एरेड यूनिवर्सिटी और अब इंडस्ट्री से हमें पार्टनर्स मिल रहे हैं, PCSIR, दे कैन ऑल्सो चिप इन. PCSIR से हमारी कोलैबोरेशन इज एक्सपैंडिंग. कुछ न्यूज़ है अभी, आई डोंट वांट टू, बट इंशाल्लाह दिस कोलैबोरेटिव जो अरेंजमेंट है, दिस इज स्लोली टेकिंग शेप. सो इसमें लास्ट इवेंट हुआ था यहाँ नीकेट में, तो एक ऑडियंस में से एक वेरी रिस्पेक्टेबल पर्सन गॉट, ही सेड के वी फील थ्रेटन्ड फ्रॉम नेस्टैप, हमें कंपटीशन फील होता है. मैंने उन्हें कहा कि आप थोड़ा सा सब्र करें, this because we have brought our best technology here. वो compete करने नहीं आई आपके साथ. जो they've come here to collaborate, expand, चाहे वो production में हो, चाहे वो co-development में हो, चाहे वो scientific endeavors में हो, they come here to collaborate. So इसको आपने strength को use करना है. With that, I think, I hope I have not gone overboard. So thank you much.
Thank you, Dr. Tosif, for briefing us on Green AI. Our next presenter is Mr. Kashif Majid Salik. Mr. Salik is working as Associate Research Fellow at STPI, where he is involved in a number of international regional projects focusing on food security, socio-economic vulnerability assessments, infrastructure, water resource development, climate change, environment, and migration as project lead, country team lead, and team member. Mr. Kashif has 20 years of experience of managing field work, projects, data management, and research in a diverse range of governmental and non-governmental organizations. I would like to request Mr. Kashif to come on stage and give his presentation on Pakistan's agriculture challenges, gaps, and future course of action.
Thank you very much, Hansa, for the introduction, and Tosif Saab for wonderful presentation. You make my work difficult because you raised the bar. Of course, I just present the inception report on precision agriculture. Actually, when I was involved in the project, so I'm basically agriculture economist. So we have heard these technologies and all these stuffs, but never go inside and get do research and integrate with different things. So when we involve in these activities, it's eye-opening thing. And I think this is, if we plan well, if we act well, and we work together. That will bring the new revolution in Pakistan. We may call it technology revolution. If it's the previous the green revolutions, now it's maybe the technology revolutions. So briefly, I will discuss the key challenges in Pakistan agriculture, because we just how we take through the inception report that first we identify the key gaps or challenges in Pakistan agriculture. Then Mubin will discuss the scope and strategies for precision agriculture, especially the automated precision agriculture technologies in Pakistan. And Dr. Babar will later then discuss the detail of the adoptability survey and all these the TORs of this study. So I will the outline. This is actually the report. You can find the report in soft copy by the QR code in the outside the banner, outside the panel. So my presentation outline is the challenges to agriculture, key concerns when we present presentation, and the national initiatives for precision agriculture. Most of the initiatives have been covered by Tafsir Saab. And now then we have some case studies, international case studies. So mostly the case studies are from the developing countries. So we can get insights from the developing countries that what are the key limitations and the scope for the expansion or adoptability of precision agriculture in Pakistan. And then of course the takeaways for Pakistan. So I just take you back a little bit about the basic the issue of land use. This is very close to my heart also, that maybe you roam around in Islamabad or Rawalpindi or in your villages, or so you can find that there is a mushroom of growth of housing societies in Pakistan, and there is expansion of non-agricultural land use on agricultural lands. So last 2 weeks, I was in Mandi Bahawuddin, and I went there for survey in 2000, and it was a pure agriculture district. So when I was in the Palia Road, there was a huge, there's number of housing societies were there, and it is comparable to the housing societies in Islamabad. So I was a little bit distressed that what is happening to the agriculture land. So it is important to mention here that land use is changing. It is in our control or not, but it is changing. Just the figure A, it's a land use of 1950s when our country just started the journey. And there is the B figure, which is land use in 2000, and there's a land use in 2015. So you can just in 2050 the bar chart actually this shows that the land use chart shows that the blue line actually shows the water, and you can't find except the rivers in Pakistan, and the cropland is a light green color, and the grassland and rangelands are in the dark green color, and the forest is darkest coloring. And the desert and bare land is in the orange color. And you just imagine that in 1950 to 2000, there is open, for example, the grassland has increased 11%. But the most important thing you just need to know that the cropland actually 1950 to 2000 has increased 92%. But now in 2015, it reduced to minus 22%. And who take this land might be, it is not the complete picture. I never accept one or more. We need actually one or more studies to identify the findings of this study. But of course, this urban settlement or urban areas has taken some of the land of this agriculture areas. And desert which has decreased to 39%, which increased 66% in 2020 and 2015. So it means that there is an increase in desertification in Pakistan, and there is a serious problem is happening, which they need to be investigated. So Aziz actually extended his analysis, and it is very important to mention here. And he used actually IPCC scenarios. This A and B scenarios. A means the more economic focus in countries focus on economic progress and then less focus on environmental issues. And B, of course, shows a more focus on environmental issues. So using these scenarios in combination and also alone, they just projected the land use change in Pakistan. And you can observe that the cropland may increase in near future. But the urban areas, you can just imagine that how much the urban area is going to increase. And just imagine the open water, forests and grasslands is going to decrease over time. And also the desert areas, which might increase. So there's the key message is that there's something is happening with the land use change, and climate change is, of course, increasing vulnerabilities to our land use change in terms of aridity or maybe in terms of desertification. So just to extend this analysis, I just like to mention this slide also. This work which we done in 2016, we actually try to develop the hotspots areas for climate-induced migration. And actually that also provides the insight from the previous slides that these are the heat waves, winter season heat waves. And we try to, because winter is the Rabi crop, and we sow wheat in that areas, and there is evidence that during the wheat is most vulnerable because of the heat waves, and because of that there is a loss of productivity and loss of profitability in the farmlands, and the people they might migrate. So but for this purpose, I just like to show you that the results that the frequency of heat waves actually has increased at 11 days per decade since 1980s. And that means every decade, every year there is 1 or 2 days. And we have fine-tuned this study, and it's later published in 2000 by Dr. Fahad. And then there is 13 days heat waves per decade has increased. So intensity has increased. And these are the similar areas where most of our agriculture is happening, most of our people are living, most of our poor are living, and all these areas are becoming. So both the physical side and both the biophysical side is going to vulnerable. And when the biophysical side means the human side and other life on that areas, and also the physical side, when they interact with each other, there is a complexity in responses, so outcome of this. So we need to prepare for that. Just before finishing the climate change, I just like to draw this one too, because climate change is another biggest challenge for agriculture beyond this land use change, because this is late in 2003 and 4 when we were preparing the climate change scenarios in Global Change Impact Studies Center, Ministry of Environment. At that time, we were not sure that this is going to be happen. And we are uncertain about their predictability. But now we can see that this is already happening. This is not happening, is happening, and it is happening in Pakistan in agriculture. So important is there. I think we need, these are the projections, and projections never give you the absolute numbers for rise in temperature or rainfall, but it gives you the patterns or the trends in climate indicators. So we can take it, I think, a serious note for these projections, because the projections which happened earlier for the shorter period of time, the patterns have proved themselves that they are quite true for that. So if, for example, if I show that this is the temperature, mean temperature, The upper the row shows that the low emission scenario. This is the latest IPC scenarios, SSC, shared socioeconomic pathways. So based on that, this low emission scenario is in the upper row. The second row is about the medium emission scenarios, and the third one is the high emission scenarios. And you know that the world is not going to reduce their emissions, and their still emissions are high. So most likely we will remain at the lower side of the temperature increase. And there are three ranges. There is 2030 to 2049, half century. And if there is a more temperature rise in the northern and western part of Pakistan, and you know that this is western part, the northern part is the water source of Pakistan. So I think it is if this temperature rise is there, then might be there is a variability in spatial and temporal variability in water in rivers, and that might increase droughts or might increase floods in Pakistan. So similar is the scenario in rainfall. You can see that most of the rainfall is projected to in Sindh and Punjab, but there is also the rain is also in most part of the Pakistan. But in some scenarios that aridity is also increasing. So I just moved to the non-climatic challenges for agriculture. The first one is the total factor productivity, which is the input-output ratio. And you know that the amount of fertilizer or pesticide or the seed and irrigation water which we applied for the crop growth, so that is not so productive to cover the cost, to improve productivity. And on the left side, on the right, you can see the table for the total factor productivity growth, and you can see that the Pakistan TFP is quite low, means that we are inefficient in application of fertilizer, pesticides, and other farm inputs, and we get less productivity from those inputs. And that's needs some more efficient ways for doing this. Second is the subsistence farming and shrinking land holding size. Of course, this is very important. And you all are aware that 80% of Pakistan agriculture is doing in small farms, less than 5 acres. So effective, efficient, or profitable farming is very much difficult in such farms. And also the land size also reduces because of the inheritance and all other issues. Second is the important thing is the labor issue, agriculture labor issue, which I need to highlight that in total labor force in Pakistan is about 57.8 million in 2011, which increased to 71.8 million in 2021. That means that average annual increase is 1.9 million workforce is coming into the total labor force in Pakistan, and about 55%, which is 1.1% of the labor force, is coming from agriculture land. In the same note, the agriculture labor contribution in overall national labor force is just 42% in 2011, and it's reduced to 35%. So where this actually the labor force from the agriculture, from the rural areas, where it's going. So the most hypothesis, or maybe some studies have suggested that they are migrating. The people are moving, and they're moving to either toward cities or moving abroad, and they are no more interested. So this is one of the interests of my interest, that to look to explore the interest of the people. So whenever I went to the village for the surveys, I always ask people that, do you like farming? And then what happened, what your actual children are doing, if they are educating. And I ask them, does they remain in agriculture just like a farmer? The most of the times the answer is no. So things are changing, then there is a in-depth analysis required that how our future agriculture managers should look like. Either they are the eldest old with the elder, or maybe the young one is coming or not. So this is the challenge to understand. And then is access to agriculture credits. Of course, this is one of the challenge, particularly the small farmers, and also not limited to the large farmers, that access to agriculture farmers for the formal sector is limited, of course. And when there is a limitation, they move to the RTs and all informal sectors, and they get into debt, and also other issues arises. And last is the agriculture and GHG emission. This is another important thing that agriculture sector is one of the largest sectors who is emitted the GHG emissions in Pakistan. Of course, we are not the large polluters in the world, but of course we are a responsible nation, and we have to build on local environment healthy for our people. So this need to be mitigated. So about 234 million, if I remember, million ton carbon dioxide equivalent GHG emissions in agriculture. While the total is 489. So you just imagine that how more than half is just from the agriculture sector. So we need, there is also challenge to mitigate these emissions. And the key concern is that then how we ensure the agriculture productivity and ensure the food security for the population. If these challenges are mounting, what is the solution is for that? And also how we promote the smart agriculture. Do we have the technical capacities, or do we have the right policies in hand? And how we generate and maintain the employment. Of course, when there is a precision agriculture where there's a change in ways of doing business from one to another, there's a shift in, there's likely to shift in the agriculture, labor, or market. So that need to be considered, that how we maintain the employment, and also supporting the farmers' innovative technologies for sustainable farm production. So I think one of the key solutions, what we concluded, is that the precision agriculture is one of the automated precision agriculture, because there are other precision agriculture technologies which are not automated, and they are already in the field, and the people are using that. But the automated precision agriculture technologies provide more ease and provide more security for people, for high productivity, and also ensure their sustainability. So I just like to skip that slide, because this is already mentioned by Dr. Tosif, that there's a number of initiatives happening in Pakistan. Just there's the need to collaborate, coordinate with each other, and also the private. There's need to involve the private sector. Just like to mention the international case studies. We have some reviewed the international case studies in for China and South Korea and India. These are all developing countries, and one of the major common problem with that most of the farming is done in the small farms. So this is one of the key learning we can get from them, that how they integrate this automation in small farms. So, but the key finding is that overall technology adoption is slow, of course, because it's limited demonstrations and marketing issues, but there is a strong uptake from the agriculture entrepreneurs, which using these technologies, of course, rely on government subsidies. The precision farming is mostly used for high economic value crops. It's just not for everything, for every crop. So there is a focus. So one focus is just export-oriented crops, or another focus is subsistence crops, or the food security crops. So that need to be important to mention. And then there's the success stories, which is important. UAVs eliminated 98% of the fall armyworm. So that's very important to showcase the success stories. South Korea is another example. Of course, the small farms are also there. The importance and there is also relatively low adoptability in in South Korea because of the small farms, but they, on the other side, South Korea has done a huge work on research and development, and they have become a leader on developing the precision agriculture technologies. And our neighbor, India, this is one of the precision agriculture has been used for many years, and the literature suggests that about 9.2 million hectares of the 29 states of India has been used these technologies, and 3 million farmers are engaged with them. So these are the very encouraging results. I think we have a lot of things to learn from them, all countries. The takeaway from Pakistan is for the most of the case studies mentioned that there's the lack of technical expertise. Of course, in every country, there's no ready-made experts on everything, on precision agriculture technologies, on Internet of Things, and flying or maintaining robotics and all these stuff. So of course, this is one of the limitations. And second is the insufficient regulations of the companies or the initiatives which are being taken by in 3 or more countries which we reviewed is because there is a lack of regulations that need to be considered, because there is in parallel both the traditional agriculture and the precision agriculture is happening. So that need to be considered, that how policy support can be provided. Now, of course, this is the high cost. This is the biggest challenge, which we completed the survey with the farmers. We will share the results later on in another seminar. But of course, this is one of the key concerns for the farmers, how we cut short the service, either through service providers or something else. So these are the other lists. Lack of infrastructure, just like internet or the electricity in rural areas. Of course, awareness and all these stuff. So what can we learn from them is that we need government support. Nothing can be done without that support. Even the private sector has to operate within the framework, within the policy framework that the government should provide, and government should provide that support. Otherwise, the flow may be difficult for the progress. And lastly, the public-private partnership. This is very key learning, and which we also observe that this is key. It's not the government can ever do anything. In Pakistan, there's a lot of initiatives happening, but that is initiatives is not purely automated. They are mostly using the precision agriculture technologies, which are not automated. So that need to be moving slow, gradually, and more integrated way to include these things in for more automation in precision agriculture technology. So that's here. These are other things, but I think that most are covered. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kashif Saab, for your presentation on agriculture sector and lesson learned from international community. With this, I would like to call our next presenter, who is Mr. Mubin Ali Khan. Mr. Khan is working as project associate at STPI. He is graduate from the University of Liverpool with an overall distinction. He has been part of several projects, and his area of expertise are macroeconomic analysis, social development issues, gender responsive policy making, and environmental challenges. He has published widely in the field of trade, fiscal policy, health, environment, and tourism sector. Mr. Khan, you're requested to join us on stage.
Thank you, Khansa, and Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for being here, and I'm very excited to present a topic that holds great promise and can bring about significant change in both Pakistan and her agriculture sector. So my presentation will be, I'll try to be as brief as possible, but to the point. It's called The Scope and Roadmap for Precision Agriculture Technologies in Pakistan. So of course, as we all know, automation technologies in agriculture offer promising solutions to address challenges related to agricultural productivity, climate compliance, and human resource limitations. It provides a comprehensive approach by utilizing various technologies to optimize farm inputs and outputs. And precision agriculture, basically, it considers the variability of land, soil, water, and other inputs while minimizing costs, environmental impacts, and externalities. This holistic approach in agriculture production aims to regulate and optimize inputs and outputs for improved efficiency. So following are some of the precision agriculture technologies that can be applied in different capacities. First is data acquisition technologies, and which is, of course, utilizes technology to obtain data. So it's important to make the right decisions in precision agriculture to about which crops to grow, how much to plant, and when to apply inputs. To do this, we use data techniques to understand the variations between within fields and adjust our actions accordingly. So the first step is gathering data on climate, soil conditions, pest outbreaks, and more. And we use technologies like GPS and get a visual understanding of our specific land and soil conditions, which helps us make informed decisions. So secondly, it's data analysis and decision support technologies. The data we collect in agriculture can be used to develop advanced decision-making technologies that can address productivity challenges. So this large amount of data at different scales and localized data can be very useful to make us make informed decisions about irrigation, fertilizer use, and pest and disease control. And this can allow farmers and service providers to identify critical factors that affect crop growth, and which was difficult to determine before. And thirdly, it's precision application technologies. So precision agriculture technologies offer more than just data analysis. They increase the capacity of technology to perform physical tedious tasks on farms to improve efficacy and enhance agricultural output. For example, varied rate technologies are particularly important. They can even help with the planting and seeding by adjusting plant density based on soil and water conditions, using sensors and, of course, AI. But most importantly, these technologies, they promote environmental sustainability, and by reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and they minimize soil damage and also protect biodiversity. So what are the options for adoption of precision agriculture technologies in Pakistan? So this was discussed in detail by Dr. Tausif, and it made my job easier. So I would just like to add to that the project Green AI, it provides valuable insights regarding the options and ways for adoption of precision agriculture technologies in Pakistan. And the 6 components work towards it in promoting, of course, this adoption. So all of these 6 components, I think, were covered in great depth by Dr. Tausif. And I will just go over them a bit briefly, especially starting with the agriverse ecosystem, which is, of course, an establishment of complete service layer infrastructure, which provides cloud-based services for high-performance computing, data warehousing, artificial intelligence, and machine learning algorithms and software frameworks. So, which is, of course, second to none when it comes to precision agriculture. And I would also like to just add something that interested me a lot regarding the ground-penetrating synthetic aperture radar systems. So these sensors can measure subsoil and surface conditions regardless of weather conditions, and can enhance crop classification, growth monitoring, yield estimation, and of course, help in various agricultural research. So now we move on to the potential roadmap for agriculture technologies and precision agriculture technologies in Pakistan. So in our reception report, we have highlighted that selecting the right precision agriculture technologies is very important for farmers in Pakistan who have, of course, limited resources. And of course, they need affordable and easy to implement technologies and that can greatly enhance agricultural productivity. So the focus now is on to conduct R&D within the country to create a plan for its widespread implementation. So in stage one, which is research and development, we gather information and process data for precision agriculture and identify precise models for crop, livestock farming, and soil management. And to ensure widespread adoption, we will raise awareness about these concepts, precision agriculture concepts and benefits through various channels such as media, seminars, workshops, and involving, of course, different stakeholders for policy actions. Stage two would be, of course, scientific demonstration. So to prepare the delivery systems, and we will use stratified random sampling within different zones. This will help us identify priority precision agriculture management zones at a national level, and will validate the precision agriculture and AI-based models using specific data from each crop zone. The stage three is a systematic deployment, which is the applications of precision agriculture. They include testing site-specific agricultural practices using AI-based modules to simulate model input conditions. So this precise sensing and management of irrigation, this will also involve economic feasibility, development of business models, and enhancing farmers' skills and capacity. So the final stage of this roadmap that we have planned is diffusion. The political economy of technological change in precision agriculture involves the agenda setting of by both the private and the public sector, which is very important for the adoption of precision agriculture technologies at a larger scale. So it focuses on understanding behavioral change and preferences by showcasing successful stories of increased productivity and identifying change agents, developing technological cohesion within the agricultural system. So finally, to conclude my presentation, I will highlight what the blueprint study actually aims to achieve. So the first is the mapping and analysis of stakeholders in precision agriculture interventions, which includes multiple stakeholders such as the government, industry, farmers, supply chain handlers, ICT solution providers, and academia. Secondly, it's reviewing literature and existing projects related to precision agriculture in Pakistan, as well as studying international case studies and looking at them whether they're viable in the Pakistani context or not. The third would be, of course, conducting a survey to adoptability survey of precision agriculture technology in Pakistan through key stakeholders. And fourthly, it's analyzing and assessing the commercialization potential of green AI's indigenously developed components of a PAG system, and creating a comprehensive business plan and a go-to-market strategy for green AI's precision agriculture solutions. And finally, we provide recommendations for implementation, including a results-based management strategy. These objectives will not only help guide the blueprint study and inform the development of precision agriculture initiatives in Pakistan. These objectives are also mentioned in greater detail in our inception report, which can be found on SDPI's website. So furthermore, the Green AI Blueprint project has two study plans. First one is a benchmark and needs assessments and adoptability pathway study. And the second one is business and management green AI study. So which will be discussed in the next presentation by Dr. Babar Shahbaz. So with that, I take my leave. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mubin, for sharing your study on scope and roadmap and sharing us way forward. With this, we are moving toward our next presenter who has joined us online, Dr. Babar. He's Dr. Babar Shahbaz. Dr. Shahbaz is professor and director academic, University of Faisalabad. He is also serving as chairperson of outreach program at Pakistan Center for Advanced Studies in Food Security and Agriculture. His specialized field includes rural development and livelihoods, agriculture extension, food security, and natural resource management. Dr. Shahbaz has more than 18 years of experience in planning, management, and coordination of inter- and transdisciplinary research projects from various donor agencies. He is also engaged with ODI-led secure livelihood Research Consortium. He's a prolific writer and has published more than 50 research papers in renowned and peer-reviewed journals.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I am audible to the audience. I will be presenting very briefly the methodology that we have adopted and we will be adopting in our data collection from different stakeholders for the National Precision Agriculture Blueprint Study. Basically, call it need assessment and adaptability pathways. In fact, we started with the reviewing of international case studies, and Dr. Kashif Salik has already explained about the key findings from the international case studies, like from China, Korea, India, Philippines. And in fact, we selected those countries like India and Philippines and China, which have almost similar context, like they have small land holding, they have vast dependence on the agriculture for their rural population. And these takeaways Kashif has already discussed in detail. And in fact, these takeaways that we deduct from the international case studies, these served as a sort of conceptual framework to develop our research to find out the views and perceptions of the stakeholders from industry, from academia, from farmers, researchers, and policymakers. So these were the main theoretical conceptual background on which we started our research. So the proposed methodology is that the overall study is focusing on three aspects or three perspectives. So first of all, the farmers' perspective, which is the most important. Farmers are the key stakeholder. They are the ultimate users or beneficiaries of the AI and the precision agriculture technologies. Then we have experts' perspective from academia, from research institutes. Then policy perspective, which are very important because international case studies have enlightened that without changes in policies, without conducive environment, policy environment, and without the relevant policy regulations, the diffusion and adoption of precision agriculture technologies would be a real challenge. So we have added the policy perspective and the most importantly, the private sector perspective in our research. So this is the overall framework of the research focus. We have three basic focus area: farmers and agriculture experts. So farmers' capability and skills, we have stratified our population, farmers population based on their capabilities, skills, like education, like their economic status, their land holding size, and their willingness to adopt certain technologies. And of course, there are social norms. And there are the variables like some characteristics of innovation. I will go into detail in the next slide. And of course, the income, profitability, job relevance related perception from the experts. Then policy perspective and the private sector perspective. So we, as I already said, that we use the takeaways from international case studies, that how the other developing countries or some relatively new developed countries, they successfully implemented the precision agriculture technologies in their respective countries. So we choose their experience in our research. So for the farmers, we use the famous study from the Rogers, the characteristics of innovations which are important for the adoption of innovation. We see that some innovations are very quickly adopted by the farmers or by the industry, and some innovations remain in the shelf, or they have their life up to the life of the project, and afterwards nobody is using that. So research shows that there are some particular characteristics in the innovations which are essential to be adopted at the large scale, like relative advantage, degree to which an innovation is perceived as better than the idea it supersedes. So the greater are the perceived relative advantage of innovation, to what extent the service providers or extension workers, they can motivate the farmers that this is better innovations, it has better relative advantages than the more relative rapid rate of its adoption. Then compatibility, being consistent with the existing values, past experience, needs, complexity. So this is a major issue. If innovation is more complex, their degree of adoption would be variable across the different categories of the adopters, like based on the education, based on the socioeconomic status, trialability and observability. So these are the characteristics that we used in our research instrument research approach. We used cross-sectional and descriptive type of research design, and mixed method approach, combination of quantitative and qualitative data collection. For survey with the farmers, we used quantitative methods, and for the experts and industry and policy makers, academia, we use qualitative methods. So study area, in fact, there are various cropping zones in Pakistan. Major cropping zones are rice wheat, sugarcane, wheat, cotton wheat, mixed cropping zone, maize. So there are different cropping zones. And precision agriculture is relevant and important for all type of cropping zone, but due to the limitations of time and resources, particularly for the survey, we decided to go for in-depth study in the rice wheat cropping zone. So this doesn't mean that we will be recommending or we will be proposing the adoption of precision agriculture technologies for that cropping zone. It would be, so wheat is all over Pakistan, and the similar situation or similar context is for the other cropping zones. A qualitative study, we didn't stick to the rice wheat zone, but this is for the quantitative farmers survey, because wheat and rice are the most important food and cash crops of Pakistan respectively, and Pakistan is one of the top exporters of rice. And in fact, as Kashif has said, that climate change is one of the major challenge, and inefficient irrigation, insect pest attacks, shortage of agricultural laborers, these are the major challenges facing the rice production. And international case studies have shown that precision agriculture technologies have great potential of improving economic efficiency and production of rice, particularly in Philippines, in China, in South Korea. In these three countries, which are basically where rice is the major staple food in these countries, and precision agriculture technologies have shown a very promising adoption rate in rice crop. So precision agriculture technologies can effectively assist the farmers in decision making in fertilizer and seed application, pest control, irrigation, and machinery operations. So for our survey, for our research, we have conducted, or we are conducting, the quantitative studies with the farmers. So target population is stratified into the land holding basis, small landholders, very small, which have less than 5 acres of land, small, medium, large, and progressive farmers. And then another strata is based on the education level of farmers and their use of technology. So sample size will be 260 farmers, and proportionate sample will be taken from the total sample, total number of farmers from each categories. Another stakeholders within the value chain are the middlemen, wholesalers, shellers, and millers and exporters. And from them, we will be conducting the key informant interviews from each categories. And then federal government, the Ministry of Food Security and research institutes such as PRC, NARC, and other research institute. And from each of these stakeholders, we will be conducting the in-depth interviews. And from provincial government is the major stakeholder in agriculture sector, because the agriculture is now a provincial mandate. Federal government is basically responsible for devising the policies, regulations, and all the regulatory issues and basic responsibilities after decentralization or amendment is the provincial government. And the major stakeholders in provincial governments are the Agriculture Ministry. It has various wings or departments like extension, field, pest management, pest warning, water management. And then there are various research institutes and research centers within the jurisdiction of provincial government, and the agricultural universities are also working with the provincial government, and from them we will be conducting the key informant interviews. And then private sectors, the input companies like seed companies, fertilizer companies, and then service providers. There have been gradual growth of, particularly at small scale and the medium scale, the service provider of the precision agriculture technologies, particularly. So we'll be conducting the interviews from these stakeholders as well. So research instrument for the farmers based on the adoption of innovation and categories of innovation. We'll be asking, we have developed a structured questionnaire which have the various items, and under each items we have different, under each variables we have different items and statements to know the farmer's attitude towards the adoption, like use of ICT tools, what is the extent of, or what is the expertise of different farmers, use of basic ICT tools like mobile phones, Android phone, computers, laptops, and then what is their adoption attitude, to what extent they are ready whenever there is new technology, what is their behavior towards the adoption of any new technology, and then relative, what is their views, their perception regarding the relative advantages of the technology, compatibility and complexity, trialability and observability, and then the training need assessment of the farmers. So the detailed questionnaire is part of the inception report, and hopefully these have been distributed to the participant, and these are, the digital copy is also uploaded on the SDP website. So these are just basic variables, and under each variable we have developed a comprehensive set of items and structured statement table to measure the attitude of farmers. And for the other stakeholders, the agriculture experts, private sector, academia, and policy makers, so we have developed the open-ended interview guide for which is based on the case studies, the takeaways from the case studies that we have conducted in our reception report. So which are basically related, questions are basically related to the barriers in the adoption of precision agriculture technology. So we'll be having the perspective of different stakeholders, the academia, the researchers, private sector, policy makers, and then the status of the government support and the need of the government support and relevant regulations which are required for the adoption, as in one of the presentations, Dr. Tosif has said that precision agriculture technologies, it have some concerns related to the data, related to the security. So we need the regulations, policy interventions. Taking the views and perceptions of the stakeholders regarding partnership, need for the capacity building, and the availability of the existing and the future infrastructure, the IT infrastructure, and also the research and development, the status of research and development. And then there are data protection, privacy issues. So we'll be having the detailed data collection on these aspects, and then the importance of partnership within the national level stakeholder, and also the international partnership, that to what extent the different stakeholders they are partnering with each other, or what is their potential partnership, or they're willing to establish more partnerships. So these will be our interview guides, guiding keywords or guiding themes, which will be used for the collection of data when we'll be having interaction with the stakeholders. So for the data analysis, the quantitative survey that will be conducting from the different strata of the farmers, the descriptive statistics, the bivariate analysis, the how different variables are related to each other, and then the which the variables are more important or more significant regarding the adoption of the precision agriculture technologies. And then for qualitative data, which would be more relevant for the stakeholders within the public and private sector, government, academia, we will be conducting the thematic analysis. And again, it will be based on the international case studies. So these are some of the main areas that we will be having in our
Wasap, for your presentation. I believe that it would be really beneficial in future. May I request our esteemed panelists to join us on stage for a question answer session that would last for 20 minutes.
Excuse me, actually, we are running short of time. So I would like to invite Dr. Ali for his farewell remarks, first of all. And then after that, we have planned a networking session on refreshments as well. But we'll take your comments, obviously, from our esteemed partners here. So we'll conduct that session afterwards. And that will continue. The extended version will be there for during the refreshment session as well. So, sir, I would like to invite Dr. Ali, Chairman Park, our chief guest today. So please share his thoughts on the forum, sir. Thank you very much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I am really congratulate the whole team, and all the presenters for launching this National Precision Agriculture Study, needs assessment and adaptability pathways. The Dr. Abid Sulari, he's gone, Dr. Tanveer, Dr. Tosif, Dr. Mubin, Kashif, Dr. Babar. So they presented, the very good, all these main studies. I just want to share, the agriculture is like open air industry. So it's all kind of threats. If, all plants, crops, orchards faces all kind of threats, environmental threats. So if really we want to get the good potential, we are talking about the yield, Dr. Tosif, he was showing, the bars of the US, comparing with the US, India, Pakistan. So then we need to adopt all kind of, these technologies. So if we are just providing our farmer only seed, wheat seed or cotton seed or whatever, so after that, if he need any inputs, it's like it's not available, no availability, and if there is available, it's not affordable. If he need 2 bags of fertilizer, so he always compromise, so that maybe he will use only 1. And these type of technology, if we will use, that we are talking about the USA and India and China, and so all these kind of technologies we are talking about, if we will use all these different technologies, for agriculture, so we need to go to study for soil, insect, pest, diseases, inputs, and then we'll come to these technologies, and then we will get the maximum potential for from that seed. Although our the scientists are working very hard in agriculture for the development of the different varieties, but the whole world is a made progress with science, technology, and research. And the research required investment. And research is a long process. It's like he was talking about the sustainability. So it's a sustainable process. I have this mobile with me. So it has around maybe 100 years research on it. So everybody has this this mobile in hand. And for investment, if I'll say about the agriculture research, investment on agriculture research, we are the lowest among the SAARC countries. So we are using 0.12% of the GDP in agriculture research. So these are the the challenges we are facing. And if I'll say the untapped potential we have, someone was talking about the the urbanization. So we are using our productive land. Our population is increasing and our land is shrinking, and untapped resources we are not using. So we have reservoirs for water. If I'll say only 14 million acre feet reservoirs, dams or small dams or whatever, but we are throwing our water around more than 30 to 38 million acre feet water every year we are throwing into the ocean. So there is two the important things. One is land and one is water. So if we are losing these two, the main areas, so then how will, although the people are moving to in the controlled conditions and whatever, but we required land. Our 8.5 million hectare land is available, and that is cultivable, but we are not using that land. So why? Because of water. So, and we are throwing our water into the ocean. So these are the major challenges. Although we need these technologies, GPS and AI and GIS, these technologies. If we will use these technologies, so we can harness, we can harvest more, the potential. So what we are doing. Secondly, the collaboration he was talking about, the people are working in silos. There's university, and high organization maybe, and the provincial institutions. So they don't have any collaboration and coordination with the national agriculture system. So we don't have any, we are not working together, I mean. And what we talk about, the international collaboration. So the people are working in the international collaboration, I just want to give you the examples of cancer, on the cancer project or human genome projects. So the part of the the one chromosome is handling by the Germany, and a part of the project is working with Japan, and part of the project is a USA. Although there are like the political situations are different, but the scientists are working with the collaboration and with the coordination, with the help of each other for the innovation and getting the benefit from the research. So and then is there like a capacity building? तो मैं समझता हूँ कि if I have we have 10 million people, so it means we have 20 million hands. So we need to provide them a platform to utilize our population. चाइना ने क्या किया है, उन्होंने, हम कहते हैं कि ये जो पॉपुलेशन इतनी इंक्रीज हो रही है, और मैं कहता हूं कि पॉपुलेशन इज अ वेल्थ। बात ये है कि हम ये जो पॉलिसी मेकर्स हैं या हम सीनियर्स हैं, अपनी यंग जनरेशन को किस तरह यूटिलाइज करना है। और कैपेसिटी का कोई इशू नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारे लोग बहुत पोटेंशियल है, लेकिन उनको अगर हम प्रॉपर कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग और प्रॉपर एक प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइड करें और उनको यूटिलाइज करें। जो अभी मैं आप तौसीफ साहब से बात कर रहा था कि ये हमारे यंग लोगों ने या साइंटिस्ट या टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट ने ये इनोवेशन की है और रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग से वो चीज़ बनाई है। बात ये है कि आगे उनको कैसे स्केल अप करेंगे और किस तरह से हम इनका पूरी जो नेशन है या पूरे अपने सिस्टम में इसका बेनिफिट कैसे लेंगे। तो वो वहाँ पे ये इशू है। और अगर हम सारे लोगों को लगा देते हैं किसी काम पे, तो किसी के पास नहीं टाइम होगा कि वो कोई भी कंटेनर पे आ जाए तो इधर उधर कंटेनर के लाइटें लेके कोई घूमे। किसी के पास टाइम ही नहीं। तो जो भी कोई अगर उनको कॉल भी करेगा तो वो कहेगा कि भी मेरे पास तो नहीं टाइम, आई एम बिजी। तो ये मेनली बहुत सारी चीज़ों का जो है ना वो इशू है। जो जाजिया आपने वहाँ से किया, मैंने भी वहाँ विजिट किया था। लिवरपूल से किसी ने वो यूनिवर्सिटी से पढ़े हैं, तो मैंने पीएचडी वहाँ लिवरपूल से की है। तो जो कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग की हम बात करते हैं, तो हम यंग लोगों को या यंग जनरेशन को एक अपने पास, हमारे पास जो फैसिलिटी है वहाँ से, तो अगर हम उनको वो ट्रेन करें, लेकिन मेरी ये कोशिश होती है कि मैक्सिमम लोगों को 2 महीने के लिए, 3 महीने के लिए, 6 महीने के लिए, साल के लिए बाहर कहीं आउट ऑफ कंट्री भेजा जाए, ताकि वहाँ से वो कुछ ना कुछ सीखें और उसको हम इम्प्लीमेंट करें यहाँ। वो इसलिए कि अगर कुछ भी, अगर वो कोई भी सीख के या घूम फिर के भी आ जाएगा ना, तो सिर्फ इतना ही अगर सीख लेना कि मैंने लाइट कैसे क्रॉस करनी है, ग्रीन पे मैंने जाना है, रेड पे मैंने रुकना है, तो यही हमारे लिए बहुत मुल्क के लिए फ़ायदेमंद हो। तो बहुत सारी जो चीज़ें वो कर। अब हमारे जो इश्यूज हैं, कोऑर्डिनेटेड प्रोजेक्ट्स की बात करते हैं, ग्रांट एंड एड प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, जब उनकी बात करते हैं, और जब मैंने अपने लोगों को, मैं चाहता हूं कि फ्री में एक ट्रेनिंग आ रही है कि फंडिंग किसी की है, कोई बाहर के अदारे के जो फंडिंग में, तो वो प्रोसेस में इतना वो टाइम लग जाता है कि जो वो लैप्स हो जाते हैं। अगर मैंने प्रोजेक्ट किसी मेरे साइंटिस्ट, कोई भी साइंटिस्ट, इंजीनियर, टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट, कोई वो प्रोजेक्ट किसी प्रोफेसर के साथ मिलकर काम करना चाहिए, तो वो जो एनओसी वो जो मिनिस्ट्री और दिस एंड दैट, वो प्रोसेस में उस वक्त तक प्रोफेसर, वो जो बाहर प्रोफेसर या साइंटिस्ट आपके साथ कोलैबोरेशन करता है, वो कि भी ये आप ये सीरियस ही नहीं लो। और जहाँ पे भी मैं गया हूँ तो मोस्टली कॉन्फ्रेंसेज या मीटिंग्स, वहाँ बांग्लादेश के लोग, श्रीलंका के लोग, इंडियन, पाकिस्तान के, वो किसी को एनओसी नहीं मिलता, और जो फ्री में सारा कुछ आपको मिल रहा है। तो बहुत सारे, और ये टेक्नोलॉजी जिस तरह ये आपने आज वो बात की है, ये बहुत ये अगर हम सारी ये अडॉप्ट करें जो एग्रीकल्चर में स्पेशली, तो कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है कि हम एट पार विद द यूएसए हम भी वो जी लें। तो लास्ट ईयर जस्ट मैं आपको शेयर करना चाहता हूँ कि इस साल हमारा जो यील्ड है वीट की, तो 28.5 मिलियन जो टन यील्ड आई है, और पर एकड़ यील्ड। लेकिन बात फिर यही है, ये तो जो भी हमने कोशिश की, लेकिन ये प्रोडक्ट, जो वैरायटीज किसने डेवलप की? जो पाकिस्तानी साइंटिस्ट ने डेवलप की, तो बाहर से सीड जो था, और इतनी वो यील्ड, और 50-60 मांस पर एकड़, इससे भी ज़्यादा जो अगर सिंध जैसे जगह पे और जो साउथ में इतनी ज़्यादा वो यील्ड आई। तो ये डेवलप जो हर साल जो जस्ट मैं वीट की एग्जांपल दूं, तो हर साल हम तकरीबन 6 साल पूरा जो सिस्टम है हमारा, जो प्रोविंसेस और फेडरल जो साइंटिस्ट 6-7 वैरायटीज हर साल इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं इनटू द सिस्टम फॉर द फार्मर्स। और अगर वो नहीं करेंगे तो फिर वो पोटेंशियल नहीं आएगी। छोटी छोटी सी बातें हैं, जैसे स्ट्रॉबेरी आपके सामने है, तो स्ट्रॉबेरी मुझे याद है कि स्ट्रॉबेरी हम कवर्ड मार्केट एक होती थी इस्लामाबाद में, तो वहाँ से बड़ी महंगी वो लेते थे बाहर से कहीं से। तो अब पूरे पाकिस्तान में ये पोटेंशियल की कमी नहीं है कि पोटेंशियल नहीं है। अगर हम कितना फूड ज़ाया करते हैं, कितनी वेजिटेबल्स किसी कभी कोई भी अगर कोई केले लेने जाए या तरबूज लेने जाए, तो वो कभी 2 केले अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट के लिए, क्योंकि मेरी रिक्वायरमेंट 2 केले, तो 2 केले कोई नहीं उठाता। और ना तरबूज का कोई 8वां हिस्सा लेके आता है कि जो रैप किया हो, तो मुझे ये इतनी रिक्वायरमेंट है, क्योंकि वैसे ही हमें शर्म आती है कि हम अगर 2 केले मैं लेके जाऊंगा, बेशक मुझे मेरी ज़रूरत नहीं है इतना, यानी हम प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं। मैं बात सिर्फ ये कर रहा हूँ कि इतनी हमारी जो फ्रूट्स वेजिटेबल हम कितने प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, और कितना फिर तकरीबन 40% हम फूड अपना ज़ाया करते हैं। और अगर वही जो इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स, इंटरनेशनल प्रोटोकॉल्स, वही स्टोरेज, वही उसी तरह से पैकेजिंग वो करके हम अगर अपना फूड जो है डेली का डेली, मैं कहता हूँ कि अबू धाबी, दुबई, ये एक घंटे की फ्लाइट है, तो वो कहाँ से उनको फूड आता है? सारा जो फ्रूट्स वेजिटेबल्स वो ब्राज़ील से, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, दुनिया की दूसरी जगह दूसरे कोने में, तो वहाँ से वो फ्रूट केले सारी चीज़ें मंगवा। तो हम तो डेली का डेली जो फ्रूट हम वेजिटेबल्स और वो सारी हम वहाँ पे भेज सकते हैं, एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं। सिंध में मैं अभी इसी सीजन की बात कर रहा हूँ कि सिंध के जो टोमेटो इतना वो ज़्यादा हुआ। अब फार्मर का अपना एक बिजनेस है, और फार्मर को जब उसका रिटर्न वो नहीं मिलेगा, तो फिर फार्मर नेक्स्ट ईयर फिर नहीं ग्रो करे। इस साल जो टोमेटो इतना 2 रुपए पर केजी फार्मर का वो बेचारा, क्योंकि हमने वो पॉलिसी नहीं बनाई कि जितना भी हो मैक्सिमम जो हम प्रोडक्शन वो करते हैं, और उसको हम जो एक चेन के साथ जो मार्केट जो है ना एक्सपोर्ट की तरफ है। अगर एक्सपोर्ट नहीं करेंगे तो फिर हम डॉलर ऐसे तो नहीं आएगा। जो प्रोडक्शन होगी और जितनी भी चीज़ें हैं अगर इंडिजिनाइज करेंगे और उसको एक्सपोर्ट करेंगे, तो फिर ही हमारी जो इकोनॉमी जो वो बेटर होगी। तो ये सारी जो मैं बात आपसे इसलिए शेयर कर रहा हूँ कि ये सब चीज़ों की वो ज़रूरत है कि अगर एग्रीकल्चर को हमने, और अब ये ट्रेंड हो रहा है वैसे, ये जो नई टेक्नोलॉजीज़ की वजह से कि जो यंगस्टर वो एग्रीकल्चर की तरफ आ रहे हैं, कि जो पहले थोड़ा सा वो, अब बात ये है कि जो हमारे पास, शायद कभी कोई गया हो कराची से ग्वादर, मैं बाई रोड मैंने सफ़र किया तकरीबन अराउंड 800 किलोमीटर समथिंग। एक साइड पे आपका कोस्टल जो ओशन समंदर है, और दूसरी साइड पे इतनी ज्यादा जमीन, प्रोडक्टिव जमीन हमारे पास पड़ी है कि जिसको जो जो यूटिलाइजिंग, हम जो अगर लाइफ स्टॉक की बात करें, इधर आप, मैं कहता हूँ कि कोस्टल एरिया से आप फिश, और दूसरी साइड पे आप जितना भी लाइफ स्टॉक को आप विदाउट एनी एफर्ट, इतनी रेंज लैंड, इतना इतना आप, अब ऑस्ट्रेलिया क्या सारी दुनिया को लाइफ स्टॉक वो प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं। और अगर हम वहाँ पे सिर्फ लाइफ स्टॉक को कोई ले जाएं, और वो जो वहाँ पे पोटेंशियल है, वो जो वहाँ से रेंज लैंड है, तो उससे हम सप्लाई कर सकते हैं सर। लेकिन वो प्रोसेसेस आपको, वो सारे जो टेक्नोलॉजीज, वो अगर अडॉप्ट करेंगे तो फिर आप इंटरनेशनल मार्केट को कैप्चर कर सकते हैं या इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में एंटर हो सकते हैं। अदरवाइज अगर वो स्टैंडर्ड्स पहले पार्ट पर मिलियन एक्सेप्टेबल थे कि जो मैक्सिमम रेजिडुअल जो पेस्टिसाइड और इस तरह के जो जो अब जो है, अब पार्ट पर बिलियन, इतने प्रिसाइज इक्विपमेंट, जिस तरह आप सारे इक्विपमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं कि पार्ट पर बिलियन भी अगर जो पेस्टिसाइड या कोई कंटेमिनेंट है तो वो भी नहीं एक्सेप्टेबल। तो उस तरह से अगर हम अपनी प्रोडक्ट्स को लेके जाएंगे और अपनी प्रोडक्शन को, तो फिर हम जो इंटरनेशनल मार्केट को भी कैप्चर, पाकिस्तान इज ए ब्लेसिंग फॉर अस। इस तरह का मुल्क नहीं, मैंने तो नहीं देखा। रशिया आप चले जाएं, कनाडा चले जाएं, यूरोप में चले जाएं, आपको स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम गिलगित बल्तिस्तान अप टू ग्वादर, यू हैव माउंटेन्स, you have valleys, you have plain, you have desert, you have a coastal area। हर तरह की इन्वायरमेंट, हर तरह की इकोलॉजी, हर तरह की लैंड, कोई ऐसी चीज यू जस्ट नेम कि जो हम पाकिस्तान में नहीं ग्रो कर सकते। कोई ऐसी आपके पास जो हाई वैल्यू क्रॉप्स हैं, पाइनट, बादाम, अखरोट, लेकिन हमारे माउंटेन्स वो सारे खाली पड़े हैं। और उन माउंटेन के वो इन्वायरमेंट, वो इकोलॉजी और वो पोटेंशियल हम वो सारा वहाँ से वो ले सकते हैं। ठीक है, अगर उनको हम सारे जितने भी प्लांट्स हैं उनके साथ या फ्रूट्स के साथ या ऑर्चर्ड्स के साथ हम फिल कर दें, तो जस्ट माउंटेन्स आर जस्ट लाइक हाई राइज बिल्डिंग। तो उसको अगर सीधा करें कितने किलोमीटर जगह है, और उसमें वहाँ पे एफर्ट की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है, तो लेकिन वहाँ पे हम वो नहीं कर। तो ये इसके साथ साथ ये सारी चीज़ें, और जो मैं फिर अप्रिशिएट करता हूँ, और जो हमारे कोऑर्डिनेटर्स हैं, जो प्रेजेंटर हैं, जिन्होंने ये सारी एफर्ट्स की कि ये प्रिसीजन एग्रीकल्चर कितना इम्पॉर्टेंट है। अगर हम तकरीबन जो 15 to 25% हम अपनी यील्ड को इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं अगर हम ये प्रिसीजन एग्रीकल्चर पे हो जाएं, और यही टेक्नोलॉजीज वो सारी वो यूज़ करें, जो डाटा वहाँ से वो आ रहा है, और फिर उसके साथ आप जो वो सोल्यूशन दे रहे हैं, तो उससे कितना हम ये पोटेंशियल इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं। तो ये सारी दुनिया के साथ साथ अगर चलना है, तो एक तो ये है कोऑर्डिनेशन, कोलैबोरेशन, रिसर्च और कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग फॉर द यंग जनरेशन। अगर हम सारे वो साथ इस तरह से मिलके वो सारी चीज़ों को एड्रेस करेंगे, तो ऐसा कोई इशू नहीं है कि पाकिस्तान में और पाकिस्तान के लोगों में और जो हमारी यंग जनरेशन है वो उसमें इतना पोटेंशियल है कि हम जो बहुत अच्छी आसानी से टेक ऑफ कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you very much, sir, for a very insightful talk. In fact, the main takeaway, the main punchline for me was that think win-win. It's high time that we have to stop working in silos. We have to build those collaborative frameworks in which there is no duplication, coordination is there. So everyone bring the strength on the table and we can collaborate and, build those success stories out of those. So with this, I conclude this session. I'm going to open a very brief Q&A session now, and I'd like to request our worthy panelists to please come on the stage so that we can gather some feedback from our private sector company. We're really fortunate that we have representation from ministry here as well. So come to Tosif sir, please. Dr. Kashif sir, please, if you can join us on the stage. So if you can join us on the panel, please. Dr. Ali. Yeah, any kind of inputs, feedback from our worthy participants here, from our partners is welcome now. Q&A is also, we can ask questions from our panelists. So Dr. Shehbaz is also here, Dr. Babar on online available. Yes, please, Dr. Fawaz, sir. Thank you.
I'm so happy, you know, it occasion कि ये inception report launch हुई. Production post harvest losses, fruits and vegetable sector में 40%, grain sector में up to 20%.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tosif.
There's lot actually also pointed out. बहुत ही high impact other measures being by Pakistanis or that we can take consumer level पे जैसा उन्होंने बताया कि 12 केले हम खरीदते हैं उससे कम खरीदते हुए so there's some behavioral issues. आप जाएं इस्लामाबाद की जो ये जो जिसको कहते हैं वो back shops जहाँ पे ये Peshawar मोड़ पे और you just see the waste of food there. तो ये चीजें हैं. There are technological interventions that take care of जैसे आप storage की बात कर रहे हैं. एक very interesting project है A-Peel के नाम से. वो produce के ऊपर spray कर देते हैं and that doesn't it increases the shelf life of the produce. तो इस पे भी innovation की चीजें. What we are trying with Green AI is just basically a step in this direction. We chose because some of the showstoppers of technology intervention is जिस तरह ये airspace management का आपको बताया है, data की ownership जो है. For instance, some of this data has to be data security concern इतने critical है कि हम inaction करते हैं कि या तो solution नहीं है फिर पूरा system ही बंद करते हैं. हमारे मतलब military में आप सोचें हमारे headquarters में cell phone जा ही नहीं सकता because we can't securely manage certain things. So हम denial पे चले जाते हैं. तो उस context में Green AI is taking the first step. But once we talk about the stakeholder, actually, in fact, जो आपने input दी है, this will definitely become part of the precision agriculture blueprint जो है. Because the blueprint is not about just Green AI technologies that we are targeting this. It is about what can have the most impact for Pakistan जो है. उसमें ये आपकी inputs inshallah will go all the way. We are hoping कि private sector enterprise जो है, this will take up. But behavioral changes जो हैं, जिसमें training needs assessment ये तो skills based कर रहे हैं. But I think behavioral changes for us, it's high time कि हमारे schools में जो बच्चे हैं nursery grade पे, उनको हम collaboration, social responsibility, civil responsibility, good Samaritan responsibilities. वो जिस तरह डॉक्टर गुलाम अली कह रहे थे कि जो हमारी रोड पे जो behavior है, चाहे वो एक PhD है या वो कोई बिल्कुल गधा गाड़ी वाला है, road behavior is the same. और यही लोग जब हमारे वेस्ट में जाते हैं तो exemplary citizens होते हैं. So this is some of the changes जो social level की है, जो मेरे ख्याल में हमारी community at large को deal करना है उनके साथ. but green AI is inshallah going to focus कि technology को कैसे sustainable form में introduce कराए sector में. But it's not addressing everything. So and neither is the claim inshallah. So but blueprint में it needs to be part of the ताकि government को एक proper reference के लिए एक researched way forward मिल जाए. And these critical areas need to be emphasized in this. So I'm sure Dr. Kashif जो है इसको note कर रहे होंगे.
Yes, Dr. Shweb.
So one of the element जो एक KPI हमारे इस project में है Green AI में, that is about the traceability of the produce that we are producing through these technologies. So उसमें arid के एक हमारे मतलब कि on our behalf we are going to do a market analysis. हम जो produce कर रहे हैं ये green cabins के through, इसको it will be fully traceable, like इसमें क्या inputs थी, and then how we can market it. So it's not a blockchain study. So that would be like a part of blockchain study जहाँ पे आप सारे elements देखते हैं कि कहाँ से produce हुई, कैसे ये transport हुई, कहाँ store हुई. But we are going to give a mechanism like जिसमें market एक study होगी overall, जिसमें traceable items को हम कैसे overseas हम उसे export कर सकते हैं. So this is the overall under the umbrella of this project. This would be initiated like the first step towards the direction of a blockchain. जो आपने I think rightly point out किया कि हमें उस तरफ भी जाना है agriculture produce की तरफ.
Yeah, so that angle is actually covered. There is a module in Green AI known as From Farm to Fork, traceability mechanisms using blockchain and similar technologies to trace what kind of seeds we actually used and what kind of yield has been produced, how much wastage is there, where that yield is going, what's the consumption trend. So it's a prototype level study in which we are using technology to trace all our inputs versus outputs things. So very relevant question. Inshallah, isko add karenge apne blueprint study mein. Any other inputs from our August, I think? In fact, I have a question with Dr. Shehbaz, if you can hear me. I'm actually concerned about the policy perspective of this study. You mentioned that there's a policy angle to this study as well. So before we go to our think tanks and policymaker with our questions, another important aspect is that we should be clear about the problems which are there at policy level. So have we identified those problems which we are going to address? What kind of policy reforms we are looking for? I mean, the precision agriculture, the technology coming in, what kind of rebates, what kind of packages we can offer to those technologies and to the farmers to adopt that. So have we covered that problem landscape before we go to the policy section?
Yeah, in fact, it will be a sort of the outcome of our research. Whatever we'll collect, then we'll be able to suggest or have better insight into what type of policy we are required. At this point, we will be going to the for some data collection about their views, or their perceptions regarding the need for the sort of a green AI technology, need for the regulation. So it is sort of a initial perception type study. What are their thinking, what are their views? And then based on the overall data that we'll be collecting, not only from policymakers, from the industries, from the academia, from the researchers, then we'll be able to identify some policy interventions. Because currently we don't have a very stringent regulation related to the precision agriculture technology. Most recently, a government policy on artificial intelligence have been launched, but it is still at draft stage. It have to get approval from the statutory bodies. So we don't have a very sort of good policy, but based on our study, we're able to identify some gaps which require the policy interventions.
Okay.
I'll just like to quickly add something. Dr. Babar, I think the focus from the policy perspective is कि जो adoption है advanced technologies की, इनकी import restrictions, drones for instance, हमें पता है कि people are struggling, they want to use drones but they are unable to use because of the regulations surrounding it. Imports, then some of the strategies जब हम इनको secure करते हैं, so mandating those security features for, because one of the very critical angles in this is to create a level playing, in fact not level playing, advantageous field for our innovators. अगर पाकिस्तान में companies हैं
जो ड्रोन्स बिल्ड कर रही हैं, जिसमें से कोई कई तो हमारे पास यहाँ पे पार्ट हैं और विजिटर्स कैन कम एंड सी देम, उनके लिए वी क्रिएटेड एडवांटेजियस एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबल स्पेस। तो इसमें इस तरह की लेजिस्लेशन है जिसपे कुछ हमने डेलिब्रेशन किया है। आई एम श्योर कुछ इस तरह के इश्यूज जब आप इंटरव्यूज करेंगे उससे इमर्ज करेंगे एंड वी कैन सी कि करंट लेजिस्लेशन उनको कैसे लिमिट कर रही है। सो इस तरह की पॉलिसी डायरेक्शंस जो है वो आई थिंक वुड बी ऑफ प्राइम इंटरेस्ट टू द प्रोजेक्ट।
थैंक यू।
जी बिल्कुल, ड्रोन्स के बारे में वी हैव पॉलिसीज, रेगुलेशन, लाइसेंसिंग वगैरह, इसकी इंपोर्ट के भी रेगुलेशंस हैं। लेकिन ओवरऑल जो बाकी है टेक्नोलॉजी, पर्टिकुलरली जो डेटा सिक्योरिटी और जो बिग डेटा जनरेट होगा, जब हम we will go to the sort of AI technologies and then the farmer related data, क्योंकि प्रोडक्शन का डेटा जब वो एक ओवरऑल जाएगा, उसके लिए हमें we need immediately some policies. So there are also will be taking care of such in our research.
Okay, thank you.
डॉक्टर साहब, मैं एज अ फार्मर ये पूछना चाहूँगा कि एक्चुअली इस स्टडी के अंदर आई थिंक मॉडल कम से कम होने चाहिए जिसमें कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव, उसकी क्या कॉस्ट है, 3 या 4 मॉडल देने चाहिए हमें, और वो शायद मेरा ख्याल है अभी तक शायद इनकॉर्पोरेट नहीं है। और दूसरा ये जो इंसेंटिव्स हैं और पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशन है, ये बड़ा क्लियर होना चाहिए, क्योंकि यूजुअली गवर्नमेंट तो टैक्स इंसेंटिव देती नहीं है फिर जब आप अडॉप्ट करेंगे इतनी लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजीज, तो ये भी उसमें आई थिंक प्लग इन होना चाहिए। थैंक यू।
जी बिल्कुल, अगर आप इंसेप्शन रिपोर्ट देखें तो इसमें जो अगला स्टेप होगा कि बिजनेस मॉडल वगैरह प्रपोज करेंगे, काशिफ में भी इस पे फर्दर लाइटन कर सकें, तो वो अगला स्टेप होगा। ये इनिशियल स्टेप हमारा बेसिक जो डाटा कलेक्शन का, लेकिन इसके बाद जब हम गाइडलाइन भी सजेस्ट करेंगे या इसके बाद जो बिजनेस मॉडल्स वगैरह होंगे उसमें हम विल बी टू इनकॉर्पोरेट। सो इट इज अ वेरी गुड comment and suggestion from you. Thank you.
Just for the common man या फार्मर के लिए कि प्रोजेक्टेड कॉस्ट आती क्या है?
जी बिल्कुल,
2-3 एक प्रोजेक्टेड मॉडल्स हों ताकि एक सपोज किसी के पास स्टडी जाती है तो वो उसको रेप्लिकेट कर सके।
जी डॉक्टर गुलाम अली सर, आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
जी मैं जस्ट ये कहना, जैसे आप बात कर रहे थे कि अब फार्मर को या जो भी इस बिजनेस में है उसको जब एक अवेयरनेस के, अगर इसका बेनिफिट क्या है, एआई का जो क्या बेनिफिट उसको मिलेगा, कि अगर आपको जो डाटा जनरेट हो रहा है अगर एक दिन का भी उसमें डिफरेंस है तो क्या कितना आपको नुकसान है। अगर एक इंफॉर्मेशन आपको जो जनरेट हो रही है कि इसको फर्टिलाइजर, क्रॉप को फर्टिलाइजर चाहिए या इंसेक्ट का अटैक है और आपने उसके ऊपर स्प्रे करना है या इंसेक्टिसाइड, पेस्टिसाइड, जो भी उसका इशू है, और अगर एक दिन का भी उसमें डिले करते हैं तो कितना उसका आपको जो लॉस है, अगर प्रोडक्शन में या यील्ड में क्या लॉस होगा। अगर 2 दिन आप फर्टिलाइजर वही जो उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट है, इसका जो बेनिफिट सारा वो जो एआई का वो ये है कि पर्पस तो हमारा है यील्ड इन्हांसमेंट, ओवरऑल जो टारगेट हमारा गोल है कि उसका पर यूनिट एरिया मैक्सिमम यील्ड हम किस तरह से वो ले सकें इस टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज करके। और उसको अगर आपको वो इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं मिलती तो आप डिले करते हैं, अगर आपने कोई भी इनपुट आपको नहीं यूज करनी है या आपके सॉइल में कोई, तो उसका जो क्या कितने आपको लॉसेस होंगे, और वो जब आप कैलकुलेट करके उसको बताएंगे तो फिर ज्यादा वो उसमें वो अट्रैक्ट होगा।
मतलब इसके एक बाय प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, उससे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट मेरे ख्याल में एक, और डॉक्टर काशिफ और डॉक्टर बाबर के साथ डिस्कशन रही है कि कॉस्ट, ये शबीर साहब ने बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट बताया है, कॉस्ट ऑफ ओनरशिप, कॉस्ट बेनिफिट जो है जिस तरह डॉक्टर गुलाम अली बता रहे हैं, और सबसे बेसिकली व्हाट वी आर इन्विजनिंग कि ये एक उबर मॉडल पे एक पैरेलल मॉडल की सर्विस इंडस्ट्री एक्चुअली नेसेसिटेट करती है, बिकॉज जो डेमोग्राफिक्स हैं, जो पॉवर्टी और है,
और दूसरा एक बड़ा इंकरेजिंग फैक्टर पॉइंट आउट किया डॉक्टर गुलाम अली ने कि यूथ का इंटरेस्ट जो है बैक इनटू द एग्रीकल्चर। आप जाएं, इफ यू गो टू केपीके, आई विजिट फार्म्स, वहां पे पंजाब से, मियाँ चन्नू से और साहिवाल से लोग बैठे केपीके में फार्म्स मैनेज कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज दे डोंट हैव द HR कमिंग इन फ्रॉम केपीके इटसेल्फ टू वर्क देयर। सो टेक्नोलॉजी और इसकी एक सर्विस लेयर, जैसा ऊबर में, ऊबर चेंज एवरी पर्सन इन द सोसाइटी एज अ ड्राइवर, तो इसी तरह पे ड्रोन्स की इंटरवेंशन और टेक्नोलॉजिकल इंटरवेंशंस को रन करने के लिए यू कैन क्रिएट अ सर्विस इंडस्ट्री। और ये बड़ा ही रेवोल्यूशनरी हो सकता है पाकिस्तान के लिए इन टर्म्स ऑफ जॉब जनरेशन और एक पार्टिसिपेटिव इकोनॉमी एग्रीकल्चर फोकस्ड को मोबिलाइज करने के लिए। सो ये एक बड़ा कोर फोकल पॉइंट है। वी हैव रीइटरेटेड दिस के बिकॉज ये एक सोल्यूशन है विच वी थिंक कैन एड्रेस जो लैक ऑफ नॉलेज, स्मॉल लैंड होल्डिंग्स। एक फार्मर जो है, और ये हमने डिस्पेल किया है, हम जब इस प्रोजेक्ट को अप्रूव करा रहे थे तो लोग कहते कि यार एक एवरेज फार्मर तो बेचारा ट्रैक्टर नहीं ऑपरेट कर सकता, तो ये आपके ड्रोन श्रोन कैसे करेंगे। सो वी वर टेलिंग देम कि दे डोंट हैव टू डू इट, एक्चुअली द इकोनॉमी सराउंडिंग एग्रीकल्चर कैन सस्टेन ए पैरेलल सपोर्टेबिलिटी। और जब ये डेटा आ रहा है, द डेटा इज मल्टी इंडस्ट्री स्पेसिफिक, जो नॉट ओनली एग्रीकल्चर, जो डेटा आप इसको एग्रीवर्स में हाउस करेंगे। So some of these things जो है इनको हम मोटिवेट करना चाहेंगे, learning from other people and even maybe innovating in this space.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Ghulam Ali, sir, since the House is not much aware of the capabilities and background of PARC and NARC, we know that it has, both of these organizations have huge capabilities and potentials. We have been planning to visit your facility as well. But now, since you have the background of Project Green AI, can you please throw some light on how NARC and PARC can be integrated and how, in what all avenues we can collaborate in this Project Green AI with NARC and PARC? Sir?
ये मैं भूल गया कि आप PRC के बारे में बताना। और हम जो आप लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी, और लग रहा था जब मैं पढ़ रहा था कि क्योंकि मैंने वहाँ विजिट की यूनिवर्सिटी में, नस्ट के लोग
विजिट करवाते हैं आपको इंशाल्लाह, विजिट इफ यू हैव टाइम आफ्टर दिस।
डिफरेंट इंस्टीट्यूट्स काम कर रहे हैं। एनिमल साइंसेस डिवीजन है हमारा, और उसमें सारे डिफरेंट, जो अभी एनिमल्स की बात कर रहे थे, पता नहीं को आप
लाइफ स्टॉक
की, तो हमारी जेनेटिक इम्प्रूवमेंट पे डिफरेंट डिजीजेज, जितने वायरसेस और उनके ऊपर, और जो बैक्टीरिया जो भी उसके ऊपर हम काम कर रहे हैं। पोल्ट्री में पोल्ट्री के जो वायरसेस का हमारे पास रेफरेंस लैब है, और फिर फिशरीज पे हमारा जो लाइफ स्टॉक के हवाले से, फिर क्रॉप्स में जो, और जो एक नया इंस्टीट्यूट, वो भी मैं आपको चलो उसका, वो मैंने ही इस्टेब्लिश किया जब मैं आउट ऑफ कंट्री कनाडा में मैं करता था, तो वापस आके एक नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट फॉर जीनोमिक्स एंड एडवांस बायोटेक्नोलॉजी वो मैंने इस्टेब्लिश किया। और 28 डिफरेंट लैब, DNA बेस्ड टेक्नोलॉजी है, ह्यूमन वायरसेस है, ये जो क्रॉप्स है, एनिमल्स है, बैक्टीरिया, उसको कर रहे हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी सारे में शुक्र काम कर रहे हैं। और फिर क्रॉप के डिफरेंट एरिया, सॉइल की बात करते हैं, सॉइल हेल्थ पे, और नई यूनिवर्सिटी लैब लैब और जो हमारा बात करते हैं वो यही है कि जब हमारी कई दफा वो वापस आ जाती है, पेस्टिसाइड के नहीं है, और फिर अगर अपना करते हैं और उसकी जो टेस्ट है, तो हमारे पास 98 डिफरेंट लैब्स हैं नार्क में, जो 1700 एकड़
इंशाल्लाह surely, mashallah sir. We surely like to visit, sir, and particularly test our drones and radars on your fields, mashallah, जो आपकी fields are. Yes. Sir. For sure, sir. For sure. Thank you very much, sir. Ji, Amir sir, please. Sir, please. Sir. अभी मैं आपको तो वो इतनी ज्यादा ये होती है जगह जगह पे आपको ये करता उसको हमने एक इंसेक्ट किया है जो सिर्फ पार्किंग को जारी करता है और यहाँ पे तो जो डिफरेंट एक्सट्रैक्ट हैं वो भी हम यूज कर सकते हैं जैसे नीम का और बाकी और बहुत सारे प्लांट हैं लेकिन वो इतना ज्यादा फिजिकल नहीं इतना एरिया को आप जैसे अभी बायोडीजल की बात करते हैं तो बायोडीजल तो ठीक है वो जो केमिकल जो स्ट्रक्चर और वो जो फार्मूला और वो ठीक है वो बार तेल और लेकिन क्या वो फिजिकल है कि हम अपनी गाड़ियां चला सकें उसके साथ बायोडीजल के साथ
ये इस तरह के जो है इस तरह के क्योंकि हमें जब फिलहाल तो हमें अपना मूड यूज करना है बजाय के अगर वो गाड़ी में जो डालने के बजाय अपने पेट को करना है तो अगर वो हम जो एरिया अगर वो बायोडीजल की तरफ ले जाएंगे तो फिर वो हमारे लिए मुश्किल हो जाएगा तो ये है कि ऐसी रिसर्च है और हमारे साइंटिस्ट ने की और प्रोडक्ट भी हमारे पास है लेकिन फिजिबिलिटी आपने देखी है क्या इस तरह से चलती है
actually इसलिए से यार तो कंपोनेंट है where pesticides fertilizer and fertilizer और बायोटिक्स है और इसने की है तो उसके ऑलरेडी लैब्स के कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स लैब हो गए उसकी थर्ड पार्टी वैलिडेशन जो है वो I hope इस तरह को ओवरकम करेंगे जैसे सर ने कहा ट्रेड ऑफ होगा तो ये भी हो सकता है कि आप यूके इस्तेमाल करें और बायो बेस्ड करें
जी डॉक्टर साहब प्लीज साथ सर
Absence of a roadmap for mechanization, specific to the process, specific to the stages, random activities, random effects are assumed. Which can help me in second and we will always depending on important solutions. तो ये हमें सबको पता है कि already take some solution or was it be difficult? Need to look at farm machinery और उसके लिए roadmap और solution आपके पास एक vision हो और एक industry जो उसको follow करे आपके vision में ये stages हैं ये steps हैं business को अपन आप vision लेंगे तो business और अपनी support लेना तो
Thank you, sir. So the question is about roadmaps. It's actually a comment. So we need to have those roadmaps which we can follow at national level and provincial level.
Started off with technology. Technologies are देखते हैं जो मैंने spin off opinion में दिखाई थी उन सब के roadmaps तो mostly spin areas में यानी कि penetration में वो तो primary की वजह से technology develop हुई है हमारे यहाँ और अब जो जहाँ पे develop कर रहे हैं उसमें but smart when you talk about mechanization तो वो बड़ा broad area है because farm mechanization में practice smart implements तो ये रोड मैपिंग जो है आपकी बात नहीं वैलिड है इसके बगैर consistent efforts नहीं हो सकते तो any party which we come and work with us हम लोग encourage करते हैं कि रोड मैप and road maps are living documents evolve हो जाते हैं but at any point in time you must know इस तक कैसे पहुंचे वाइस चांसलर एरिड यूनिवर्सिटी के प्रोफेसर पहले बात हुई and he was pointing out कि हम फैक्टर्स बना रहे हैं कैपेसिटी which हमारी स्मॉल फॉर्म होल्डिंग्स की अब छोटी कैपेसिटी के फैक्टर्स का कोई रोड मैप नहीं है इंडस्ट्री की तरफ कोई नहीं है तो वेरी वैलिड पॉइंट ऊपर आपने बड़ा अच्छा किया हमारे डायरेक्टर भी बैठे हैं आप देना मुझे ये जो इसका जो आपने बात किया है कि जो स्मॉल फार्मर है और उसकी जो जो रिक्वायर्ड है उसके लिए हमने कोई इक्विपमेंट को दूसरा ये है कि जो हमारी जो पूरी जो पुराने तरीके हैं ना जो उसको हम जो है उसको लेके आ रहे हैं नई टेक्नोलॉजी सिस्टम आप ज़्यादा कि वो हमने सारे इक्विपमेंट ताकि इस तरह की माल मशीनरी अब बात यह है कि ये वो उसकी मॉडलिंग करेंगे और उसको वो डिज़ाइन करेंगे जो भी रिक्वायर्ड है आगे जो है आगे जो प्रोडक्शन साइड पे तो कौन सारी चीज़ों को लेकर तो वो रिक्वायर्ड है ताकि हमारी इंजीनियरिंग प्रोडक्शन पाकिस्तान में तो बाहर से जब भी यूज करती है तो ये हमें ना करना पड़े और अगर हमारी प्रोडक्शन जिस प्रकार प्रोडक्शन यहाँ पे स्टार्ट हो जाती है एक तो ये है कि जो स्मॉल फार्मर के हवाले से अगर मैक्सिमम जितने भी मैथमेटिक्स जो भी हम इक्विपमेंट यूज करेंगे तो और कास्ट इफेक्टिव भी होगा तो उसमें इतना इशू नहीं है कि उसको आपको मार्केट ना पाकिस्तान में क्योंकि जो स्मॉल फार्मर के लिए जो स्मॉल इक्विपमेंट आपको करना है अभी हमने कोरिया से मैं आपको कहूँ कि कोविड के साथ एक प्रोजेक्ट चल रहा है तो वो छोटा सा जो हैंड जो ट्रैक्टर होता है वो किया है और जितने भी हमारे पास लेक्चर्स आए हैं वो है वो बाहर सेक्शन तो इस तरफ को अगर हम सारी चीजें बताना शुरू कर दें तो ये और दूसरा ये जो कंट्रोल कंडीशन की हम बात करते हैं वो ठीक है कंट्रोल कंडीशन में भी ये स्मार्ट लेकिन मेरे ख्याल में कंट्रोल कंडीशन और चैनल फार्मिंग वो बड़ी अच्छी है सक्सेसफुल भी है लेकिन हमारे पास तो अल्लाह ताला का शुक्र है ज़मीन ही इतनी है कि हमें वो जरूरत ही नहीं कि हम रोज हम बात करते हैं कि ये जो वहाँ पे इस तरह से ने हासिल कर दिया देखिए उसके लिए इन्वेस्टमेंट की आपको ये पैसे चाहिए अगर मैंने वही सारी जो वाटर के हवाले से जितनी टेक्नोलॉजी वो यूज कर रहे हैं अगर वो मैंने यूज करनी है तो उसके लिए आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट चाहिए और हमारे पास लेकिन जो सोर्सेज हैं जिनकी मैं बात कर रहा हूँ अगर वो अगर हम यूज करें तो बहुत ज़्यादा हम आगे जा सकते हैं तो ये लेकिन जरूरत इसी बात की है कि जिस तरह फार्मिंग और इस तरह की नई हमारे इक्विपमेंट करें ताकि ये जो हमारी मैकेनिज्म हमारी फार्मर भी बेनिफिट देगा और जो हमारी इंडस्ट्री जो लोकल प्रोडक्शन की तभी सक्सेसफुल होती है कि हम अगर
सर जी प्लीज डॉक्टर श्वेब
जिसकी वजह से मैंने जितने इनिशिएटिव्स आप देखते हैं ड्रोन हम बना रहे हैं यहाँ पे एडोविजन से भी सामने खड़े होकर इनका ड्रोन सामने पड़ा हुआ बट नन ऑफ दीज आर प्रोडक्ट्स एरोस्पेस को हमने जब अपने पार्क में नेशनल एरोस्पेस इज वन एरिया क्वालिटी इज मैंडेटरी अदरवाइज यू आर डेड आप एक बंदे को वहां पे भेज रहे हैं वो जिंदा वापस आ ही नहीं सकता अगर आप भी उसको ऐसे सिस्टम में इट्स यू कांट ऑपरेट इन द हम अभी इस कॉन्सेप्ट को ये जो सेंटर में बैठे हुए हैं यहाँ पे जो कंपनीज इंक्यूबेट हो रही है उनके करिकुलम में सर्टिफिकेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट बिकॉज जो प्रोजेक्ट्स है ना वो आपको बेतहाशा नजर आएंगे प्रोडक्ट्स नजर आएंगे अब हमारा ये हाल हो गया कि हम दूसरों को कॉपी भी कर रहे हैं उनको कॉपी करते भी क्वालिटी हम वी आर एक्चुअली एलिमिनेटिंग तो ये क्वालिटी कंसेप्ट में नेस्टर पे इट इज अ क्रिटिकल पार्ट ऑफ आवर स्ट्रेटजी प्रोडक्ट लाइफ साइकिल मैनेजमेंट के जब हम डिजाइन कर रहे हैं विजन फ्रॉम आइडिएशन स्टेज टू द प्रोडक्ट ये प्रोडक्ट का आफ्टर थॉट नहीं होना चाहिए कि मैंने 100 प्रोडक्ट्स मार्केट में छोड़ दिए हैं और क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं अब मैं उनका डिजाइन करूं The world has moved on. Simulation to testing to the perfect the product and then we introduce it to the market. So अभी जो हमारे drones हैं, they are going to be जो बाकी जो चीजें बन रही है radar research they are going to be walked through this certification process और आपको quality product मिलेगी. And aim ये compete जैसे हमारी IT industry है, they competing internationally and they bring billions of dollars of there is no reason कि आपकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में ये प्रोसेसिंग ना लें हम F-17 PXC में मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहे हैं हो गए अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह कोई क्रैश नहीं करता बिकॉज़ stringent
standards
quality is very critical as a country as a nation कि हमें से जैसा पानी evaporate करते हैं इसका ये भी evaporate you have to bring that back और कोई shortcut no solution it's basically investing taking the pain make sure your design goes to the harsh environment of field. वो military grade में और agriculture grade में कोई फर्क नहीं है, believe you me. तो अगर वो आपने standard design adopt की, एक दुनिया में exist करते हैं, आपने अगर हमारा private sector सिर्फ नियत करें कि हम पाकिस्तान में उस quality की products बनाएंगे, which eventually we should be able to sell on. अगर आप कहेंगे नहीं कि मैं 10 रुपए की product बनाऊंगा, अगले दिन वो खराब हो जाएगी. This is the death of technology.
Sir, thank you, sir. So we can, I can take one or two more questions. I think I have the mic, so actually मुझे भूख लग रही है इस वक्त मेरे ख्याल में. Let's conclude this shortly. So. ऐसे साहब we have the potential. That's it. सर ये जी बिल्कुल सर, यही हमारा मिशन है एक्चुअली नास्टैप में कि जो हमारी इंडस्ट्री है उसको लेके चलें, उसके अंदर ये स्टैंडर्ड सर्टिफिकेशन की कंप्लायंसेस को ग्रो करें, प्राइवेट सेक्टर को लेके आए. प्रोपैम जिस तरह था, सर्जिकल टूल्स की बात करते हैं, गुजरांवाला में, सियालकोट में हमारी स्पोर्ट्स इंडस्ट्री है. ये सब इंडस्ट्री जब क्वालिटी कॉन्शियस हो जाएगी, उस लेवल पे आएगी, व्हेन वी कैन conform to those international requirements, then our products worth would be, I mean, magnified many times. So yes, last question from Yasir Saab, if there are no queries.
जो है किसी साल बहुत बारिश होगी, किसी साल जो ड्राउट होगा, तो ये जैसे एरियाज है, छोटास्तान है, बलूचिस्तान है, जिसमें सॉइल बहुत अच्छा है लेकिन पानी नहीं. तो हम इन एरियाज के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं? अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक फार्मिंग में सिखाऊंगा कि हम जब आता है पानी के सीजन तो हम कुछ करें उसके साथ.
और अगर वो पानी जितना हमारे पास स्टोरेज हो रहा है तो उसको 5-7 साल तो आप बात कर रहे हैं कि एक साल रिपोर्ट है, एक साल ज़्यादा बात नहीं हुई, इस दफा बात नहीं हुई, तो उन्हीं को आपने उन्हीं प्रोसेस को आपने को आपने लगता है उस टाइम पे आप मार कर सकें नेक्स्ट ईयर अगर आप दूसरा ये जो हिंदुस्तान के एरिया में ये जो नई इन्वेस्टमेंट है, जो आपका बहुत सारी जगह पे मैंने देखा है कि ग्राउंड वाटर की है और जो आप रेन वाटर को हार्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, डिफरेंट जो एरिया है कैचमेंट एरिया, वहाँ पे आप पानी को स्टोर कर सकते हैं और उसी को आप कर सकते हैं. तो और फिर ये अगर पानी को ये रिवर सिस्टम सिस्टम वाटर पे आप जाना है तो ये अभी अबुधाबी का वो पता नहीं कोई व्हाट्सएप पे दे रहा था, अब वो वहाँ पे देखिए ना डेजर्ट उनके पास इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो यहाँ से मजबूत पानी पी सकते हैं। हाँ, तो वो कर रहे हैं। अब आप अगर इतना अभी ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग वहाँ पे हम कर रहे हैं तो और आज ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग वहाँ पे तो फार्मर को कम इंसेंटिव दे रहे हैं 10%, वो जो फार्मिंग प्राइस है वो 10% तो अगर ऑर्गेनिक की आप बात करते हैं, अगर एक प्रोडक्ट $1 की है ना नॉर्मल, तो $10 की प्रोडक्ट आपको मार्केट में मिलती है ऑर्गेनिक। तो ये बहुत सारी, लेकिन बात यही है कि अब जो फार्मर है जब ये इकोनॉमी है उसको हम अब करना हो जाएगा। लेकिन फीडबैक है, जो फीडबैक का हमारा एक मैं कहता हूँ ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट था कि जो लोग पिछले वो वजह से हो गया, अगर वो उसी तरह चलता रहता तो हम हमारी इकोनॉमी एक ऐसे हमने टेक ऑफ करना। तो आजकल मैं जो हमारे वो पहले जो फैसले चाइनीज थे उनका नाम तो तो उनके साथ हम एग्रीकल्चर के बहुत सारे प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं। जो चीता के सराउंडिंग में ये 100 किलोमीटर इधर 100 किलोमीटर इधर आप इंडस्ट्री और सारी, तो 80% जो प्रोडक्ट है ना जो इंडस्ट्री जो रॉ मटेरियल है वो तकरीबन एग्रीकल्चर से आता है। जो भी आप काट के देख रहे हैं फूड मटेरियल जो बाय प्रोडक्ट, ठीक है यार आपका तो वो उसमें अगर आपके क्वालिटी बेहतर हो जाए और उससे ये होना था कि जो आपका नुकसान है ना सारा जो सारे का सारा और जो वहाँ पे लोग फिर रहे हैं इधर उधर भारत और वो सारे आपके लगते हैं। तो ये बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जिसको आगे लेके जाते हैं। हमने बातों में नहीं लगाया कि आप जस्ट कंक्लूड, इसके बाद कंक्लूड करते हैं। मैं आपको देखिए वी आर ऑल मुस्लिम, अगर मुस्लिम नहीं है क्रिश्चियन है ज्यूज है सारे बिलीव इन द स्टोरी ऑफ हज़रत यूसुफ एंड हज़रत यूसुफ अलैहिस्सलाम के टाइम पे प्रॉब्लम दैट वाज सॉल्व्ड वाज 7 years ऑफ अबंडेंस, 7 years ऑफ प्रॉफिट। ठीक है, कोई टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं थी उनके पास, अल्लाह ताला ने इसलिए वही दिखाई and he was able to figure out a solution to that. You just have to use your mind and commit to that, empower the people who can bring about that change. पानी की कोई कमी नहीं है पाकिस्तान में। अगर सऊदीया वाले 1 किलोमीटर जमीन के नीचे पानी काट के बोइंग के पंप्स लगा के डेजर्ट्स के अंदर एग्रीकल्चर कर सकते हैं, इट्स प्रैक्टिकली लाइक एग्रीकल्चर ऑन मार्स। ये जो सऊदीया में हो रहा है वो मैंने इसलिए शुरू किया। तो अगर मुसलमान भी हैं, स्क्रिप्चर में पढ़ भी रहे हैं, सारे रमजान में खड़े होकर सुनते हैं, let's take example from that. Every problem has a solution which lies around us. हमारे पास अल्लाह ताला ने बल्कि कुरान से भी कोई प्रॉब्लम डाउनलोड ही नहीं होता इंसानी को जिसका सॉल्यूशन नहीं होता। So there is no end of the line. We have to have a positive thing. Inshallah, it's a very special country.
वो चाय पे दे लेते हैं मेरे ख्याल में इनपुट से। With this positive notes, I would like to really thank everyone for coming up and joining us, sharing your valuable thoughts. In particular, we are really grateful to Dr. Ghulam Ali Saab for sparing his valuable time and joining us. Special thanks to NICAT and STPI for hosting us here. Dr. Babar, thank you very much for joining us. And in particular, all our private sector partners and ministries representatives. We are really grateful to have you here. Thank you. We can have a group photo and then we can break off for the tea session.